Good evening, folks. Just by way of housekeeping, we do live stream the meetings, both audio and visual, and we've got that up and running. Those are accessible by you and the general public without any requirements for right-to-know requests, etc. And that was it's being paid for by me, pending future direction that we may go. We replaced Zoom with that for a number of problems we were having with Zoom. So I think it's been quite well reviewed or well attended, if you will. And I have no intention of stopping that. Any of you likewise are able to record the meetings, etc. Should we leave the room for any reason, those broadcasts continue. Additionally, after we call the meeting to order and say the Pledge of Allegiance, we do have a moment of silence.
Meeting didn't start yet, we can talk.
Yeah, I
I didn't say you couldn't talk.
We have 5 minutes. Yeah, I just think it was 96.
So maybe there's a plus in all this.
There's more nowadays, so it's just a thing. I don't know. But yeah, that's really good. Yeah, because he's gonna be there, right?
Yeah, some capacity. I need to talk to him about what he wants to do, giveaways, for capacity. Yeah, so, but that's, that's, yeah, I mean, the only, I think, maybe we think something else.
Yeah, so they start, we watch church That's fun. This new part, the news articles is a little scary.
That way. Yeah, I spoke. I prepared the draft.
I've never heard of this story.
What's up? Yeah, I'm sure. But I was practical.
We can't fix those two, take it about a tax lien conference. So I see
Because you got on my sort of things, is it even like settlement yet?
no.
You didn't do it.
We push the batteries.
And we had a good conversation.
Yeah, you don't have at least a little hunt spot on one of these.
I mean, it's not far. I'm just feeling that you're gonna put that kind of money into it. Robeson had one. Boomer's got one. Abe's got one. I think that was their, I think if you read his, we're trying to.
You can make a recommendation. I'll share this with everybody.
Just sit there and sign your.
Right, I think it's pretty fair.
45 minutes straight.
Right.
And incidentally, those two are pretty much the same model that I had to demonstrate for. What I think about is the case for that, seems like it would have come apart, and it should be a second set of pads over there. But I can figure out how to get it apart.
Okay, hi. No, it is not, it's under.
And then, when they first started, you could, yeah, they could see the battery charge.
Anymore. All I do is schedule meetings,
Batteries
attend meetings.
must have left it.
So, that they're maybe, that they're gonna make.
We didn't put on. Yes.
And then it all, it all.
Should have a meeting.
Well, yeah, we're splitting up now. I just gotta get permission, but I have to. Because I have four.
But that's something that you can't put that in the.
Folks, we're gonna call tonight's meeting to order, and we're gonna have a moment of silence immediately after the pledge. You're all aware that we've started a little bit of a newer tradition where we recognize and hold out in our thoughts and concerns, you know, those both within the township and elsewhere. And tonight, we did receive, flags are flying at half staff. We did receive emails from our governor regarding two firefighters. You're aware of that situation?
Yeah, I'll say the moment of silence is tonight if you'd like.
Go ahead. So after the pledge, we'll have the moment of silence, and this is what we're going to recognize. Go ahead, Rich.
You want to do the moment of silence?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll do the pledge. And then
Let's do the pledge, and then we'll do that. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For the moment of silence, I'd like to honor the Fire Chief Jeffrey Buck and Assistant Chief Robert Schick Jr. of Walnut Town Fire Company, whose lives were tragically taken last week by a hit-and-run accident. What should have been a routine call became a heartbreaking reminder of the risks our firefighters and first responders face every time they answer the call. They stepped forward with courage and commitment, just as they always had, never knowing it would be their last response. Their leadership, dedication, and sacrifice should never be forgotten. They served with honor, and they gave everything in the line of duty. May we remember them not only for how they died, but for how they lived, serving others, protecting the neighbors, and embodying the very best of what it means to be a firefighter.
Thank you, folks. By way of additional housekeeping, we come to the public comment section. We ask that, when possible, you try and keep that to 3 minutes. Additionally, there's been talk about, with respect to giving your address or name, and what we'd like to do is, if you're objectionable to giving your address, it'd be okay to say your name and whether or not you're a township resident. I think, Mr. Marola, that's consistent with the Sunshine Act and the Second Township Class Code. Historically, from time to time, we would, if somebody asked, we would correspond, perhaps off that list, but it's not necessary. There's also been a couple of discussions with respect to letters or notes or things that sent out anonymously, etc. And I can assure you that I don't. And nobody with respect to me or related to me sends anything out of those natures. So having said that, I'll open it up to comments.
Roll call.
Oh, I'm sorry. We want to make sure who's here. Mr. Rhodes.
Here.
Mr. Gullo.
Here.
Ms. Fitz.
Here.
Mr. Steve.
Yes.
And I'm here. So we're all here and accounted for. Now, any citizens, please raise your hand and we'll recognize you. Sir, in the back.
Steele.
You're a township resident, correct?
Robeson Township, yeah. I'm under the understanding that you conducted the chief's interviews? Yes? How'd that go?
Good.
Are they gonna be picking a chief, or?
I believe
Chief,
we're-
is Jason Ribby gonna be the chief? Is he gonna be the chief?
We'll find that out.
Okay.
At this point, my understanding is, for those of you who don't know, we conducted or we organized a committee, and that committee was comprised of Mr. Rhodes, Supervisor Steve, past Chief of Police Dennis Castle. And I believe they may have completed their work. I'm not 100% sure. In any event, I don't anticipate action being taken tonight on that, as the entire board has not yet met and or discussed, evaluated that. There may be a legal issue or two, as well as a personnel issue that we'll discuss in executive session later in the evening. But again, I'm not anticipating any action on the chief of police tonight. Is that a fair assessment? Harold Steve is the vice chair here of this board and somewhat the organizer of that. Is that an accurate statement?
That's accurate.
Okay, so stay tuned. It'll be on the agenda. Later in today's agenda, you'll see us hopefully evaluate and hire formally a manager and a fiscal assistant, and it'll be on the agenda. The agenda's posted on our website, pursuant again by the applicable law, and also posted on the building. So stay tuned. Any other?
So when the three of yous were, you three up there, when you were in the interview, did just Chief Castle do the interview, or did you do the interview, asking questions and stuff?
Well, I think that's between the committee.
Why is it
How
be-
it was
Why is it
conducted.
between the
Well,
committee?
because we haven't come out with the results yet. So
Yeah, but-
once we come up with results, I'll be glad to share whatever you want to know.
Yeah, but I'm asking you, he's had the meeting, you were there, and Chief Castle was there. We should be able to know if he's asked questions, or did just the Chief Castle do the interview?
Well, I would think, without me having been there, I would think it's common sense. And generally speaking, again, without being there, that the typical, my understanding is, it is opened up for all kind of questions, but I don't know that for a fact. And I share Mr. Steve's position that we're well aware of some of the sentiments of the community, and let the process play out. That's what I would say.
Okay, so, Mr. Steve, when you were acting as the borough manager, were you paid for that the whole time you were acting as the manager?
Now, let me answer that question, Mr. Steve. We're not a borough, we're a township. And there was a time prior to Mr. Steve's service, or his election, his successful re-election actually, on this board, that he was paid at a basically half rate or less. That ended, I guess at the end of this year.
December.
It ended in December, and yes, he was paid. None of us.
Was that $5,000 a month?
I don't actually recall, Mr. Steve,
That's what the vote was, yes.
which was well less than half the rate. So in a sense, I don't want to say that was a budget, a budget benefit, but that's not really a proper, in my opinion, a proper way, to look at that.
It seems like a lot of money, $5,000 a month.
Well, consider
Well,
this.
no, I'll answer that question, Mr. Steve. It's not a lot of money, sir. It's not a lot of money for what this man has done. It's just not. You don't know.
Okay, that's fine. But
Okay, you have no idea with what it takes to really do that job.
And you have no idea either, because you made it public, and it's fine. You made it public as to how much Chief Remy made for the year.
$187,000.
And how many hours did he work?
I'm sure it was,
No, you're
I'm
not
sure he
sure.
worked the
He
hours.
worked a lot of overtime.
There's no dispute that those hours were not logged. I'm commenting on what he made.
Okay,
That's what I made.
but, you know, you say he made a lot, and that's not much
No,
money.
let me answer.
$5,000 a month.
Yeah, okay, I started at 5 AM, and I was lucky to be out there by 7. So you do the math, I've been working for less than $20 an hour. Who else would do that job for that? On top of that, I'm still up there helping, I haven't got received a nickel, and I'm not expecting to. So I've been doing that for 4 months.
Well, the thing is that he made a big deal that he made $187,000.
Well, I mean, you're making a big deal over, and I didn't want the job,
Well,
I
you
told
didn't
him
put out
flat
how
out.
many hours he worked. How many hours did he work? Plus, they were short 2 or 3 officers, if you
Well,
remember well.
I'm not debating what he did or didn't get paid, but, you know, I
But it
don't
was a
know.
big deal at the meeting, he sure made it a big deal.
Well, once again, what did that have to do with me?
It doesn't have anything to do with it, I
Okay,
just
so-
asked what you made. I knew you made $5,000.
But you had no idea what the hours I was putting in.
I don't care.
And that was Saturdays
How
and
many hours did he put in?
Well, yeah, but he's getting
You don't
paid
have
for
to worry
every
about
hour.
taking a frickin' bullet in your back either.
Well,
These guys do.
Is that it?
And the data center is still going forward.
I
Okay?
understand that somebody made you an offer on your home.
That's right. And it's none of your business.
Well, you
It's
made
still
it
going
public.
forward.
You made it public.
It's still going forward, yeah.
Well, they have not come in here.
Well, I don't care.
Okay, any other questions from the, yes, ma'am, your name?
Rose Hamilton.
And you're
Yes,
from the.
I am a resident.
Thank you, ma'am.
And I just have a question, might not be important to you, but it is important to people that drive by. And they used to post the meetings on the sign out here. Why don't they get posted anymore?
I believe the signs have not been properly, we don't have proper letters for them, but it is an agenda item. It has been an agenda item. Our public works person in the back, Mr. Redinger, was getting, we had secured some quotes before, and I think he was getting those quotes back together. Either the signs will have to be redone. There was some talk of perhaps considering LED signs and the like. They're pretty expensive. So we hope to get them up and going. Both that
I
one,
feel it's important because there are people that don't use the internet. They're not on Facebook. They only get it by word of mouth if they're lucky and would like to attend
Yeah.
at times.
yeah, the meetings were all advertised the second and third Thursday, and we have a lot of other meetings, you know, a lot of other boards, Park and Rec, Environmental Advisory, Sewer Authority. There's a lot of other meetings that come out and attend and stay involved. So Barry, take a look at that. We'll make sure that that
Yeah,
gets.
and if I could just, so we did purchase new letters. The letters lasted for literally a month, and in the sun, they just baked, shriveled up, and started falling out. So it was, you know, how much money we spent on letters that just keep falling out. The old letters, they were great, but they faded out, and they were made of actually like a heavy-duty plexiglass, if you will. The stuff that we can, is available to us now is just this cheap, chintzy plastic.
I realize that, but again, I feel it's important that
I'm
it's
in
posted out there
Total agreement
for
with you.
people that go by that don't get the internet.
Total agreement.
Because
Are there-
old people, not old, but as elderly, don't all wanna spend that money for that.
Is that something that like there's grants available for, like, or is that not really?
Probably not
Okay.
necessarily.
I just have a question.
Hold on a second. Are you done, ma'am?
Yes,
Okay. Name,
Brenda
please?
Baldwin from Robeson Township. So with the pieces that fell apart after a month, did anybody like go back to where they were purchased and say, hey,
Yeah.
these things are defective? And
Amazon, that's just tough luck.
so you couldn't send them back or?
No, it was out of the return window was 30 days, and literally they just shriveled up to nothing. I mean, I could keep on buying them, but I mean, no disrespect to anybody, it's just kind of a waste of money. And we tried looking at and, you know, purchasing good heavy duty stuff, and they're just, everybody's going to these LED speed signs, they don't even make like the good ones anymore, so to speak, so. Yep.
I have one other question. It's
Hold on a
nice
second,
question.
hold on a second. Anybody else? Ma'am, you're next.
Claudia Bahorik, Robeson Township. Are we gonna talk about the data center later?
It's on the agenda.
I think it's in
I'm
under
just wondering,
engineering.
we've got public comment here now, do we do our comments now or later?
If you wanna say something about the Senate, have at it.
Well, I wanna know what's going on, but so if you're gonna talk about it later, we're gonna wait, but I had something else I wanted to talk about too.
Go ahead.
I was here like a year ago and asked about a signal for down at the train crossing on Cedar Hill and 724. And I think twice I asked about it, and somebody was quote looking into it, and nothing's happened. And they park trains. There's 3 tracks there, and they park their train cars so that you cannot see if there's a train coming down on the main track. And they park it on either side of Cedar Hill, very close, and so the visibility is really poor. Plus the weeds again are a problem, because when the weeds are there, when you're coming up Cedar Hill, you cannot see if a train's coming.
From an engineering perspective, are you able to comment on that, Mr. Rode? Give a
Well-
recollection of that?
Yeah, I recall the conversation. I don't know that any of our crossings meet the warrants for the updated, signal alarms and things of that nature. We can reach out to the railroad. I don't know if we have a contact for them locally.
Ryan, if
Yep.
I may, we did, when we looked into this last time, so up into, I forget the exact area, but the reason for Old River Road having a signal that goes across and has a gate is because the trains at that point there are basically, they could go whatever speed they want, and then after that, they have to slow down. So the crossing at, Rock Hollow, where the quarry's at, that doesn't warrant for
I'm not talking
anything.
about Rock Hollow, I'm talking
I'm going down the line here, and then at Cedar Hill, that doesn't warrant for a crossing signal either.
according to
that-
who's,
That's from Norfolk Southern.
they don't wanna do anything. I mean,
Well,
we should
it's-
be the ones asking for it if it's a
Well,
hazard to the residents.
But ma'am, we did, and we can't just go put up a signal crossing. That all has to do with the railroad.
Did anybody talk to any of our Congress people to get them to put some pressure on it? You gonna wait till somebody gets hit by a train and then do something?
Well, with all due respect, the speed limit for a train through there is 5 miles an hour.
Yeah, right.
Well, I'm just telling you what I know.
Well, they don't seem to follow 5 miles an hour.
Not a
And
conductor.
I'm telling you, you can't see because they park trains there.
I come back and forth that way to work every day. I understand.
Anything else you wanna talk about the data center?
Well-
To my understanding, we got feedback from the, planning commission.
Correct. There's a draft ordinance. It was in your packets tonight.
Yep.
It's in there as an informational update to the board. The planning commission received a draft in advance of their last meeting, which did not take place.
That was Easter Monday.
Correct, that was Easter Monday, and the planning commission requested a draft so that they could review it for the May 4th planning commission meeting. It will be a discussion item before the planning commission, and that is the data center ordinance, which has been worked on by both the planning commission, our office, the environmental advisory committee. So it's a group effort. We're hoping after the May 4th planning commission meeting that we will have a draft ready for the board's review and consideration.
Now, this gentleman back here is saying that this data center is going through, I don't know on what,
No, I didn't say it was going through, they're still going forward.
so who is they? That's what I'd like to know. Who is the company that's actually doing this?
The company, the people that are building the data center.
Well, who is it?
I don't have you
How can
covered
we
that.
not know who it is when we were doing all this stuff and we don't know who these people are?
Well, they can tell you who it is.
Well, who is it?
I mean, we haven't had anybody come back to the board with any sort of
Who
solidified
came
plans.
first that stirred up
The
the
property
rumors?
owner, I believe.
The
I wasn't
property
on the
owner.
board at that time, but the property owner.
So they're not telling you who the company is that's
I mean,
wanting to
They
do
brought
that?
the company in.
Yeah, there was a
No,
company that
the
made
company
a
came in.
presentation. Modus was here on
Yes.
behalf of Grande Construction, Grande Land LP, who owns the property. They made a very brief informational presentation to the board. regarding data centers, potential data center on that property. And asked, said that they were gonna continue to do their due diligence and would come back. We have reached out to them twice since and received no response. A data center is not permitted on that property currently. It would have to go through a zoning variance process. The ordinance that we are currently working on would not permit a data center on that property, so.
Or any zoned residential property.
The thing that concerns me is that, it's my understanding that because we don't have this ordinance, that they could come like tomorrow, and they could say, we wanna do it, and because it's not currently excluded, then we
No,
cannot.
the township currently has a clause in the zoning ordinance that permits any non-addressed use in the zoning ordinance by special exception, I believe special exception, in the general industrial zoning district, which that is not zoned general industrial.
We're also gonna have a little discussion or a little further thought at some point about our joint comprehensive plan, and uses in other townships that, you know, may or may not have that, you know, in their zoning. That's Robeson, Union, Carnarvon, Birdsboro, right?
Yep, that's it.
So we have another plan that's involved there, but are there other questions or comments on the data center while we're kinda talking about that?
I wasn't finished.
Okay, I'm not cutting you off, man.
Okay. In this plan or whatever we're doing, I don't see any, like, wording regarding what happens to our property values when they go in the tank, when they build a data center here. And I'm like over the hill, sitting on top of the hill, and the whole place is gonna be rocking and rolling from the vibration, and the noise is gonna be crazy. So nobody's gonna buy the property, so, I mean, what's gonna happen to us people that live right around the area that we can't sell our property? And this is not fiction. I mean, this is happening all over the country where there's data centers. People are having their properties totally ruined. So, you know, who's gonna compensate me when my property is like a third the value of it is now? I mean, who?
So that's the purpose of the ordinance, and they're going
Well,
through all
I
this?
don't see anything in the ordinance about if they build it, they're gonna have to do something when our property's value go down.
I don't believe that clause is
That would,
typically in an ordinance like that.
Well,
it's
could
not
be,
ever
but it
in an
doesn't
ordinance
mean
like
it's
that.
typical.
So the
People just didn't
ordinance,
think
the
of
purpose
it.
of the ordinance is to create the guidelines and requirements for any type of use. And then if there is a variance needed, then your zoning hearing board will make a decision. The township is automatically a party to that proceeding to be involved, either in a favor or against whatever the preferred use happens to be. And your zoning hearing board will make a decision about whether that use qualifies for the variance and relief requested.
Okay, that doesn't address the
If your
property
question
value,
is,
loss of
who
value.
pays you if your property value goes down, that doesn't exist, that doesn't happen in the zoning ordinance.
Well, it could. Why can't we do it? It's
Well,
just
can't.
nobody investigated this.
I'm sorry,
If they're
that's not
ruining our
accurate.
property value, you know what happens when they start tapping into the well and all our artesian wells up there in the hill go dry? Who's gonna give us water? Where's that coming from?
That is in the ordinance.
The use of regarding water, water is part of the ordinance.
I think it's worth noting again, that the property that you're referring to is not permitted to have a data center currently, and would not be permitted to have a data center under the new ordinance. So we are not creating this ordinance for that data center at that property. So if a data center were to be proposed there, that would only be allowed by variance, and you would most certainly be notified of the public hearing to express your concerns regarding.
There's a plan for that lot. isn't there?
Correct, it's single family housing.
So, I don't really, know, it's premature because there's no actually planned use for that property to getting any kind of opinion, but I mean, there's a residential plan for that property. So for someone to say it's a hardship, so you have to use it for a data center, seems like a stretch. Because there obviously is a use available in the housing, which is approved.
Any other data centers? Yes, ma'am.
Lorraine, Golf Course Road. So if, when the zoning board comes to board of supervisors with this plan, regarding the data center, is that strictly just for that property?
No.
Or is it for the whole?
What I think you're not understanding, perhaps, is that this board has received no information, no formal application or anything
Right.
that they're still under consideration, still interested, et cetera. So when we do, we would, consult our engineering and legal team at that point. It seems to me, and I'm not speaking for the entire board, but it seems to me all of us have expressed unanimously concerns and a general feeling that we would not be receptive to that. Now, I typically don't comment on things that are not before me or plans, but if you heard our solicitor correctly, we are a party to that action. And based on the information I have, I would oppose that. I'm only one vote on this board, but I would be leading the effort to oppose that for all of the reasons that, we've already explained. Not to mention that they do have an approval. That's on tonight's agenda on your report regarding they have an extension until June 30th, if I'm correct.
Correct.
That's the
Okay.
development.
That's the
That's
single family.
For the development.
That's
not
the
for data
single
center.
family, I think it's 500 units development.
When did that get extended? Because
It-
before it was.
It's been extended for 20 years.
No, back in December, you extended it, the December, we ended it.
They're looking for an extension tonight, another
They're
one.
looking for an extension.
I don't think they
No,
are.
it was
They're
last
looking for
month.
one
Oh,
in
last
June.
month. Oh, last
The
month.
most recent one was last month.
Has a decision made on that?
The extension was granted by the Board of Supervisors, and both the Board of Supervisors and Planning Commission, who recommended that extension, did so, requesting that the developer come back and appear here in the very near future, before any subsequent extensions, to have a discussion on all of this.
I understand that the reason they didn't build before was because of the railroad, that they couldn't get a second exit from that property. And the railroad said they could not cross the railroad, they couldn't get a road across it.
I don't know if it was solely the railroad, but I do believe that and I'm just saying this from memory, access to the property and DEP environmental clearances were the two items that they were asking for previous extensions to try to address.
Any other data centers or other comments? Otherwise, we're going back to you, fella. Just hold on 1 second. Ma'am, you weren't done.
Yeah, I don't know if I was clear, or maybe I just didn't understand your reply. So what I'm concerned with is what's gonna eventually come forth with the zoning. Is that just for that company, for that
No,
lot?
that's a township-wide ordinance that would apply for data centers. And at some point, right now, their only default mechanism, and not unique to data centers. If there are any uses that are not described, and understand something on the position of all boards. Every so often we redo zoning, you insert new uses that were not there 10 years ago, and we no sooner really get done and get a few years under our belts till there are, more different uses. So it's kind of a thing that's in motion, but that wherever they would be permitted, that ordinance would apply to that. And again, we've not had anything before the board. I know it's a hot button issue. Many of you know that I'm, heavily involved personally in farming, and farmers are getting lured into big ticket sale prices and things like that. And it's really put a lot of people in a lot of interesting situations.
Yeah, most people weren't here for that first meeting when they came in, and what I'll equate it to is say, hey, I'm coming over for dinner. When? Sometime. What time? When I get there. That's the last we heard. They kind of came in and mumbled it. And that was the last thing we've heard in, what's that been, 8 months, 6 months?
I think it's almost been a
reached
year.
out to
All
Cole
but a year?
Yeah.
3 times.
So unfortunately, I'm glad that EAC and everybody was proactive in getting this ordinance built for if someone comes in with more than, hey, I'm coming for Genesee when I get there. That's kind of where we're at. So I think it kind of got blown out of proportion, but I think we're all doing the right thing to protect for a solid plan that actually does come in at some point. But we're just here guessing, like, we know nothing more than a 10-minute presentation a year ago.
And again, a plan where it's zoned for. Not every use can be everywhere in the township.
And when I was here when they gave the presentation on the other side, and that was the first time I ever heard of data centers, really. So it's just, I don't know. I think it's not a good idea for here, but I think we're doing the right
I don't
steps.
think anybody up here is gonna sit there and do it.
Yeah.
I do
Okay.
have a question about the ordinance itself.
Sure.
Are we gonna integrate this into the actual ordinance, or are we gonna like stand alone? And the issue I have with it standing alone is there are things in here that are less restrictive than the current ordinance, and I would like to stick with the conditions in the original ordinance, and there's a couple things pop off at me, but
So we'll discuss that with the solicitor, but yes, the way it's set up is it's referenced sections, so at some point you would have to codify the ordinance and they would kind of slip right in, so to speak. So I don't know of a way that we can just change the zoning ordinance. This is a zoning amendment, at some point you would codify it, and those sections would line up for it to fall exactly into the zoning ordinance.
so we have to be very careful when we put this thing together, so that we make sure that everything lines up
Sure.
with what's currently.
What Mr. Steve has noticed, as well as those who read it, is while it was a good attempt, when he says less restrictive, you wouldn't necessarily want to create an ordinance that says, for example, a building height of 25 feet or 50 feet maximum, and allow a use to use that building height where other places in other areas have a higher restriction. You wouldn't want those inconsistencies. Is that something that you had thought about, Mr. Steve?
Yeah, it is, and, so, one of the things, when you look at the EMFs, I think the electric company sets theirs at what, 500 feet? So we're saying here you have a 100-foot setback in the yard. We don't wanna be there, we wanna be at the 500 feet. Let's see, the sewer. We require everybody in the industrial area to be sewered. This is saying you can have a lot system. Need to be consistent. This is gonna end up in an industrial area, we need to make sure that we do that. The decimal ratings on the building itself, my personal feelings are a little high if you're gonna dump this thing in a residential or in a place where there are residences, and this does permit that. I think that they need to be much lower, so there's not much more than another house next door. So, there's a couple things, I haven't looked at it great, but I just went through a couple things.
And I will say that I have similar comments provided by the EAC. So that's where we're at. We're incorporating everybody's comments, and that's where the ordinance stands. And hopefully, there's a slightly revised draft that will come out before the May 4th Planning Commission meeting, and that's what will be before the planning.
Thank you.
Anybody else with data centers? If not, we're going back to this gentleman. You're on.
Okay, whether you know it or not, what's it called down here, 3 miles down the road where the landfill is? Titus?
Western
Is that what it's
Burke?
called?
Titus plant,
Okay, that's Cumberland Township.
yes.
Whether you know it or not, a data center's going in there. It's proposed for there. It looks like it's gonna go through, okay? That's where the next closest one's gonna be. And then the next one, which I just found out today, is being built in Conshohocken. They bought the steel company down there. Okay, so there's one gonna go in there. They already bought the company there. The next closest one's right down the street here. They're gonna build 50 of them in Pennsylvania.
Well, they're talking about a moratorium right now.
Well,
The governor.
no matter what, your house value ain't gonna go down.
Oh, sure it is.
Okay, they're building $700,000 houses heading down through Kenilworth. And right in their backyard, literally in their backyard from here in the woods over there, is the two cooling towers. And they're building $700,000 houses there. People are buying them.
Well, you're not seeing some of the things that are done on television where they're
I don't
interviewing
care,
people
I don't
living
care about
here.
fake news.
Well,
Not fake news.
Okay.
All right, well, one person at a time.
But anyway.
Is that, you're done?
No, the other thing I wanted to talk about, right there before your house, before your office, I don't know if there's a little creek there or bridge, but is that maintained by,
PennDOT.
our street guys, or PennDOT? Because I almost seen an accident there this morning. I don't know, what is it, 55 mile out there or 35? I'm not sure what it
It
is.
switches right there.
It fluctuates. But
Well,
I
it goes
seen a
from
car just
55 to
about-
35.
I mean, when you hit that spot there, I mean, I seen a car just about in your front yard today because of the way it's laid out. I thought maybe if our guys did that, that could be smoothened out. I'm sure when our police leave here, a lot of times in an emergency, you hit that, I'm surprised their front ends ain't gone.
it actually, got that way after they fixed the bridge.
And they've been notified numerous times and it's not worked out.
Well, I'll notify them, I'll get it fixed.
I wish you would. I wish you well.
I've dealt with Norfolk Southern, they're very easy to deal with. I dealt with Scotty Haynes, he's very easy to deal with. They've brought me out on numerous occasions. I'm a one-person wrecking ball. I don't put up with anybody's bullshit.
Okay, anybody else? If not, we're going to move on with this evening's agenda, and we're going to indicate on Roman numeral 3, our financial statements of financial interest are due May 1st.
Can I just ask one question before we get through? I'm sorry. So, and I don't wanna keep going back
Now,
to.
your name, ma'am?
Oh, I'm sorry, didn't know I needed to do it again. Wendy Baldwin, Robeson Township. Going back to the acting police chief and township manager. Are we close to this? Finishing this
I
off?
would say we're going to take action one way or another tonight on a manager and fiscal assistant. That'll be coming up in a few minutes.
Okay.
And we'll be discussing the police chief, I'm sure, in the immediate future. Perhaps,
So-
perhaps tonight, but no action is, I believe, going to be taken tonight on the police chief.
Do you think within 30 days, the police chief and the township?
I'm not on that committee, so the sooner the,
Well, manager's on the agenda
yeah,
tonight. but
manager's on, you're asking about the police chief.
Both.
Right, well, manager and fiscal assistants, stay tuned in a few minutes. Police chief, it's gonna be longer.
How much longer do you anticipate that to be?
I don't have a deadline.
Yes, Mr. Rhodes.
Okay?
Does Mr. Rhodes have anything to say to that? Like, you're going into the meetings with
I sat in the
previous
interviews, correct.
Basil and,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, the discussion has to be had with the entire board, based off our interview and how the results came out, or what we all think, right? From the committee, so we haven't had that discussion with them, yet, which I'm hoping, that happens tonight, right?
Are you done
but-
interviewing?
Yes,
You are done?
yeah,
Are we allowed to know how many people you interviewed?
3 total,
Including
correct.
Mr. Mick? Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, so I think, after our discussions tonight, around that, it's personnel, so an executive, we'll see what the rest of the board feels, and then, like Chairman Bittler said, I don't think there's gonna be any action taken tonight, but a discussion will at least happen, and then determine, at what meeting we would take action.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, ma'am? All right.
Question, just clarifying. Titus, I'm new to Berks County, so Titus, I Googled it, if I'm looking at it correctly, is 3.6 miles away, is that correct?
Correct.
Mhm.
And again, that's in a different township, ma'am.
Yeah, there's close to,
Yeah.
thank you.
All right. So moving on, our statements of financial interest are due. I see on correspondence, a couple of code violations. Can you comment on that, Mr. Steve?
Yeah, so, Ted's busy with people calling in about different things.
Ted is our representative, current representative from our code enforcement officer.
So we have, more people living in campers on properties in the township. So there's 2 of those which he is planning on sending, letters to, or he has sent letters to. I think one has contacted him back, and I think he's waiting on the other one, but, it sounds like he's going to take the same approach as he did with the other, person that we had with, the camper, and give them, a time schedule to have it removed. Both of those are the campers. Yeah, so it was also brought to his attention that Meraki Manor has expanded their seating.
Okay,
and-
that's item under administrative comments. We're going out of order here. That's item Roman numeral 6H. It's the
Oh,
same.
yeah, I'm sorry, but it was a code violation, so.
Okay, so let's move H up and talk about it now in terms of a code violation. Is that what we want to do?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
So anyway, Ted did some checking, and it does appear as though they've expanded their seating by virtue of the information he garnered off the internet. And that being the case, they've not lifted, according to what Ted was able to find, has not lifted any permits in order to do any of those renovations. On top of that, that would also mean they would probably owe the sewer authority additional funding for EDUs and sewage treatment. It's not very fair for everybody else to pay for somebody else's business to fall around.
Okay, so we're going to let them know that we have some concerns. We're going to work as best as possible to resolve those situations. Is that correct?
Yes,
Is that your understanding from our code?
yes.
Okay, so let's get our facts together and,
Was that the last one?
Yeah.
Sorry, it looked like you were thinking.
Well, yeah. I'm just-
meaning there's more to talk about that or no?
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Okay. Then I think we're on, if that's it for the code violations, I think we're on to a spring bulk cleanup day.
Yeah. and
Once a year we have that. Do we have the day?
Twice a year.
Twice a year, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's Saturday, April 25th. I think we actually have it on the website, and so we've been trying to get it out. You can take bulk items down to the dump, they'll accept them. It lists things that you can't take, such as refrigerant, mattresses and box springs are not accepted, but they're looking to do a pretty good cleanup. Certainly saves the township from cleaning up the roadways when people just dump things.
Okay, if that's it for the correspondence, Acting Chief Rimby.
Thank you, Board. The first thing I have on the agenda is the safety zone. Resident inquired if we're gonna have it painted and if we're gonna have the signs put up. I told him that I would bring it to the board and see where we're at. I know you talked about possibly having the parking lot recoded before we do anything. I didn't know where we were at.
Yeah, well, as far as I know, we haven't even gotten prices on that. I did meet with a guy today about decommissioning the tanks out back. So, it's a tough thing. I guess we could put them in, just not mark the parking lot. I don't know.
It's a resident who wanted to utilize it for their shopping.
Why don't you explain what a safe zone is?
So safe zone is, it's gonna be out front, we're gonna have it painted green, it's gonna be posted, safe zone, if you have people who might wanna sell something online, Facebook Marketplace, where it's gonna be under surveillance the entire time, that way in case something happens, we'll be able to hopefully figure out who it is what it comes to, that's what.
And it's
we'll say
used
safe
for
zone.
more than that, sometimes in custody situations or other situations where somebody wants to transact something.
Yeah. So
And it's a
that's-
pretty good idea.
So what do we need to put that in place?
I believe we have the
We have the
signs.
signs. I guess we could get some green line painting, because that's what that's supposed to be indicated with, right? So we just, a couple cans of that green line painting, and just, because it's not that expensive. Yeah,
Right.
30, 40 bucks. And we could paint them until we get the parking lot resealed and stuff. I mean, does that sound right?
Do we need a
So we know-
vote to authorize?
I think it's already been done, hasn't it?
Okay.
Well, yeah,
I
the
think
thing's
it was
already been
pre-May.
authorized and done deal,
Okay.
just,
Let me know what spots you wish to mark.
yeah, I think we've decided on this side
Yeah,
here,
we're gonna decide on this side, we pretty much wrote directly out front here.
Okay.
since we put those new lights in.
Ma'am, you had a question?
Well, he just cleared it up, but you're talking here at this building.
Yeah, here at this building.
Okay, and there will be a camera out there?
Yeah, the camera's already there.
Well, I was gonna say, there's a camera out there now.
Yeah, the
Okay.
camera's there, lights are there, it's gonna be pretty much all directly right out front here. It's gonna be posted, it's gonna be painted green,
Okay.
anybody's gonna be able to utilize it. Once it's done, we're gonna put it on our Facebook and social media so that everybody's aware of it, and,
That's great. I love that idea.
The next item on the agenda I have is firearms. With being awarded the grant and the purchase of all new firearms, some of the officers voiced that they would like to purchase their duty weapons if the board would so allow. I can tell you that I did get a trade-in quote from Glock itself, and the trade-in would be $225 per firearm. I believe it's kind of standard in the county, at least as much as I know, that the board usually allows the officers to purchase their duty weapons if they would switch to different firearms. And it's just something that we would like to know, or the officers would like to know if you'd be willing to do that, or.
Are you thinking equivalent to the trade-in amount? Is that what you're?
Yeah, whatever the trade-in amount for Glock, and I have a paper, you guys can have, it's $225. My opinion, if they would like to purchase it, they'd have to pay the $225. And the transfer fees and everything like that.
Who's gonna handle the Glock transaction?
I don't know yet. Wherever we can get the best price.
My preference would be to set it up so they can do that, but they do it through whoever that party is.
Yeah,
So
we-
the
I'm sure.
township's never a party to that transaction. So, in other words, we're gonna give them to the deal and the deal.
Well, if we own the firearm, aren't we always a party till we don't own it?
Well, what I'm saying is, we've traded them in, and he's selling them to whoever he wants.
It doesn't seem like we've traded them in though.
Not yet, no.
Well, no, we haven't, but
Right.
when that time comes.
So are you saying like trade it to somebody to directly sell it to
Right.
the officers?
Yeah, so we're out of it.
Okay.
So there needs to be an intermediary party put in there, is what you're saying?
Does that sound right, Mark?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think we should be clean on that deal, you know, it's like, because I think there's also other issues that, you know, if
Have you
we're
seen that before,
the party
Mr.
to
Morrow?
sale, then we have to do the good thing.
Have you seen that before?
The intermediary?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, then, I'd make
That's
a
good
motion.
practice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think we probably should wait until we know who that is.
Right.
All right, so
Yeah,
can you
so
get us
like,
in?
I know, for instance, I know the officer store, they do it as well. They'll purchase the guns back for $225, but the officers can go there and purchase the guns from them for the $225.
All right, let's get those details together, and for Thursday, a week from now, we can act on that.
Sounds good. Thank you. Last item on the agenda is the radio replacement. So this week, myself and I believe Harold received an email from the county about the large-scale replacement of our radios. So the county's offering a 7-year financing option at 4.65%. So what they're asking for is by April 13th at 8 o'clock in the morning, that we would sign Exhibit 4, which they provide us in the email. I believe you guys have it. And it's not a commitment, it's just an estimate saying we are gonna do a 1-to-1 trade-in, so to help the county better estimate on a cost for the new radios.
Is this also including the fire departments too?
I believe so.
It does,
It is,
yeah,
yeah.
that's what's on my agenda here to
Yeah,
bring up, what can you guys help us with, cause this is,
we don't have the numbers for the fire company yet, for either fire company. I did talk to
We have
Scott a while
numbers,
ago.
we have approximate numbers, but
Yeah.
until the 13th, when that, we might want form is turned in, they won't be able to finalize.
The more people that get on
Correct.
board, the better of a price you're gonna get.
You know,
but they got us in a bad spot by upgrading the radios. They're not going, our old ones aren't not gonna work, but they can't, if they break, we're done.
Right.
And the chance of, the money savings of getting something new now is probably what, less than half
Yeah, I think they're,
of a new radio if you wait.
in their wish plan, I think the radios are gonna be sold around 40%
I think it's
of Motorola's
43%.
retail price.
Yeah,
But it's a
that-
one-time shot to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the issue I have is, nobody will give you a price on the accessories. You know, you can't get a deal on the chargers, the mics.
Everything's an estimate, even the radio's an estimate.
Yeah, so
They
we
think
haven't,
it's around there.
we haven't seen any of those numbers yet.
I have 'em.
Yeah, we have
It's
them.
theirs too, 'cause it's encrypted versus non-encrypted.
No, no, no.
He's
What's a
talking
hand
about-
mic gonna cost you?
Oh,
Yeah,
Oh, the hand.
What's a charger gonna
the
cost?
accessories.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's all the accessories.
Yeah.
There was numbers there.
There was, I mean, a dock charger and a decent mic is, you're under $200 per radio
And
mic.
and the other question I had was, will what we currently have work with those radios?
Yes.
No, the mics and the batteries will not, and
No,
the
no,
chargers,
the accessories won't.
Accessories will not.
The new radios will work with the old radios.
yes.
Yeah, yeah, that I know.
No,
But
accessories
I'm
are
talking about-
void. No, you're going
No.
from APX
All the way
4000 to
So, yeah,
6000.
so, you know, what you're gonna save on, the buy, it really dwindles when you start buying all that extra stuff. And then the other thing is the cost of the interest over that 7-year period, is like $1,500 a radio. You know, so I think it's somehow we're gonna sit down and figure out, hey, you know, do we plan on buying X amount of radios outright every year at full price? And manage it that way versus, you know, jumping into this thing with, you know, who knows what you're getting.
I think that tonight is the board would have to make a decision if they want to sign that paper saying that they would like to be a part of it. It's not a commitment, it's just
Right.
saying we're possibly thinking about being a part of it.
There's no downside to that, is there?
No.
And it's even written in there, we could say 50 today and change it to 5 tomorrow.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that we should jump on it.
Yeah.
They're just trying to get
It-
Motorola to say, fine, we'll do this price.
I think we're gonna look at 10 hand units and try and
That's-
figure out how to pay for them.
That's kind of where we're at as well.
Yeah.
Assuming that Motorola is gonna play this game every 6 to 8 years
Yeah,
with
that's just
firmwares
ridiculous.
up, legacy hardware, that's my opinion is if we do 10 of the most commonly used portables, and we do this every time this comes around, we just get this, because again, how long we had these radios now?
2013.
2013. All of our radios, besides batteries, a couple broken antennas, or broken mics, still work.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
we
have
can
one-
gamble.
We have one broken hand unit,
yeah,
that's it.
we can gamble, or we can, I'm not going full bore at it, but I think we're on the same page as maybe 10 hand units, and then every time this occurs, we just.
And what is a hand unit
let
cost?
They're estimating
Projected?
around between 3,000 and 4,000, depending on hardware.
And then you need accessories.
Yeah.
All right, so you're looking
And
at,
they're saying if we don't do it now,
35.
it's $7,000 to $8,000 if we do it later.
Wait, plus accessories.
And that's only 1-for-1.
Yeah.
So if we have 15, but we wanna get 20, we only get that pricing for the 15 we trade in, we pay full price for the other 5. That's the agreement, 1-for-1 for that price.
Yeah, I thought though that he had a two-tiered thing to this, where you could buy so many and then buy so many later.
I'd have to reread it. Anything
I think if
Mr.
you-
Gottschall
if
puts
you
down is hard to
agreed
read.
You'd have to still purchase them by, I think, March of 27.
so how many do you need?
Probably 10. And
So
we only have
we're
9
looking
to
at
trade
30 times,
I'll give you
Theirs
that.
are encrypted, I think the
They're a little
encryption
more.
is a little more, but we're talking a couple hundred.
so total, that would be, not counting accessories, would be what? 30 times,
What do you say? You say $4,000? Talking about $120,000.
I would go high on 4 with accessories, chargers, mics.
all right, so we gotta look at the budget, we got to sign the document expressing an interest, and then figure out how we're gonna do this.
I think that Brian was actually guesstimating at like 30 to 40% over what the cost of radio was gonna be for the accessories.
Yeah, I think it was 45% he was estimating.
Which I seemed high to me, but, you know, I don't know. So, I'll make a motion that we authorize somebody to sign the document saying that we would buy the radios.
I'll second that just to get the process
I
moving.
don't like somebody.
Yeah, who's somebody?
Well, then name somebody.
If it's there, I'll sign it.
Okay, the chairman.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second, all those in favor, Mr. Rhodes?
Yes.
Mr. Gullo?
Yes.
Ms. Fix?
Yes.
Mr. Steve?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes.
Thank you, board.
Is that it?
That's all I have.
One more thing, while we're on, please. One of their AEDs, is no longer serviceable. I took the liberty of checking, and we can get AEDs, they're, Life Pack, 1000s for $1,400 a piece.
How much?
1,400.
That's a very good price.
I actually went through, Western,
Yeah.
they're buying some for another municipality.
Is the Friends of the Reading Hospital thing still?
No, that's
done
done.
now? Okay.
That's done. The one of the ones that we currently have, you can't get batteries, you can't get nothing
That's,
for
we're
it.
in the same boat.
Yeah,
Right,
so
so
it's like the radios.
The life packs are nice because it's the same universal plug to the monitors for the ambulance. So the pads just go.
So you're looking for a motion, or this is a non-agenda item?
This is a non-agenda
Okay, so that
item.
would probably qualify as an emergency issue, would it not, Mr. Marola?
Well, I mean, I could leave it go to next Thursday and we can put it on the agenda.
Okay.
But I wanted to have the discussion, to see which
All right,
direction
so
we
next
wanna
Thursday,
go.
make sure it's on the agenda as an action item to get that approved.
Okay.
Is that it? Anything else? Other than that, in Roman numeral 5, we have, in our monthly expenses, sewer aging and treasurer's report, we'll have stuff in our regular meeting packet, hopefully in a week. In Roman numeral 6, it's come time to hire a fiscal and a manager. As you're aware, we sent out offers and they have been accepted. So under those circumstances, I'd be inclined to move forward first with our manager, Osmer Deming. I'd be looking for a motion to that effect. We would make that consistent with his offer of employment, which he's signed.
I'll make a motion that we hire, Osmer Deming, with the condition of his background coming back.
And his eligibility for obtaining a bond
Yes.
at our cost. For those of you curious, the starting salary is $90,000, and all of those positions are subject to a probationary period. Many of you know we've been without a manager for a while, and I think this is an excellent opportunity. So there's a motion on the floor, Mr. Steve. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor, Mr. Rhodes?
No offense to Mr. Deming, I don't know him, but I think the process was done incorrectly and unfairly, so my vote's no.
Mr. Gullo?
My vote is no as well because we interviewed one individual and that's it. Otherwise, Mr. Rimby was put out to the pasture to be put into a category of a bunch of people to be interviewed, so, no.
Ms. Fix?
Again, no offense, Mr. Deming.
My vote is yes, because we've been without a manager since June. We have interviewed people, we've extended offers, and they have not taken them or all that, so that's why I've said yes.
Mr. Steve?
I'll vote yes.
And I'll vote yes. The second position that we're hiring is for a full-time fiscal assistant. Both these candidates were interviewed by Ms. Fix and Mr. Steve. She's also accepted, again, on the 90-day probationary period, starting at $28 an hour and then moving up. I'd entertain a motion to hire her effective immediately as well.
I'll make a motion to hire Ms. Noose at $28 per hour for the full-time fiscal assistant.
And that's consistent with her offer of employment acceptance, correct?
That is correct.
Subject to background
Is there a
Subject to background
and bonding.
and bonding.
subject, hold on, we're voting, ma'am. Is there a second, Mr. Steve? Did I hear that or no?
I'll second that.
All those in favor, Mr. Rhodes?
Yes.
Mr. Gullo?
Yes.
Ms. Fix?
Yes.
Mr. Steve?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes. So if possible, Harold, inform those two people to start as early as possible. I think that's a significant step forward for this township as part of, our continued hiring process.
Barry, did you have a public works?
We're gonna get to
We do
that.
have,
It's just on that same item.
Okay, well, we're not done yet.
Sorry.
So I think it's a major step forward, and we're also looking for, a Public Works, 2 people, is that correct?
Correct.
All right, what can you tell us about that?
One will be considered summer help until they would obtain their CDL.
CDL, folks, is a commercial driver's license, which typically we like to require that. We have worked with people in the past where we've paid for it, asked them to stay a certain period of time, and we need that to operate, most of our equipment. The second one already has a CDL?
Yeah, second one has his Class A CDL, tanker endorsement, hazmat endorsement. The two hazmat and tanker really don't apply to us, but it's good to have.
Currently employed by PennDOT.
Yeah, he's currently employed by PennDOT. He's been there for better part of 7 years, pushing 8 now. Both seem like really good candidates.
And where are you in that process?
Harold and I interviewed both of them, and I think we're ready to go, because Lord knows I need the help.
Okay,
It is paving season.
so is there a motion to hire both of those individuals?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
All those in favor, Mr. Rhodes,
Yes.
Mr. Gillo,
Yes.
Ms. Fix,
Yes.
Mr. Steve,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes. We also are gonna get a motion to advertise and interview 2 part-time administrative staff to fill the position. I'm wondering if it might also behoove us to put in there a possible, instead of 2 part-time, 1 full-time. Does anybody on the board have a major problem with that?
Myself, I think it works out better to have 2 part-timers, but if
So-
you can't find anybody, you get a full-time.
So I'll make a motion that we,
Why do you say that about like full-time versus part-time?
Well, I think the part-timers give us more versatility than, just 1 full-timer. And there's also the benefits that go along
Yeah.
with that.
I
So-
think we're better served, I kinda have an opposite position. I think we're better served by a full-time person, notwithstanding the increased cost, which I've made a rough calculation, and I think it's worth it. So I'd make the motion that we advertise for the 2 part-time and include a 1 full-time position and see what kind of candidates we get, in the next 10 days. That would be my motion.
Think 10 days is sufficient?
I think people are aware of it, and we can always extend that if we don't. So, yeah, I do think it's sufficient. Is there a second to my motion?
I'll second that.
Okay, there's a second. All those in favor, Mr. Rhodes?
Yes.
Mr. Gillo?
No, because I don't approve of the hiring process that we have right now.
Okay, Ms. Fix?
Yes.
Mr. Steve?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes. Ma'am, you had a question?
Yeah, I would like to know how you come up with salaries for the manager. Did you do some kind of a survey as to what similar townships are paying their managers?
We've been looking for quite a while. We're pretty, I think, informed. That's certainly within our budget.
Now, what the
Particularly,
question is, the salary seems awful high.
No, the salary is to the low side. You're not,
No,
you-
you Google for township managers,
Right.
we're talking $57,000 to $75,000.
no,
We're at.
so,
Well, it just says this the average salaries.
no. I think you're not as informed, as maybe,
Well, it just
You
seems
could
like
be.
an awful lot of money for a small township to pay that much, and just because we couldn't find anybody, it just seems an awful lot of money.
okay, well, I disagree. Anything else?
We subscribe to the Pennsylvania Association of Township Supervisors.
I'm
which is
sorry,
The Pennsylvania Association of Township Supervisors. They call it PSATs. And it's a statewide organization that gathers all kinds of data, as well as providing all kinds of different services. And one of the things they do is data surveys, or wages surveys. So they did one for Berks County, and that's kind of where the number came from. But we were paying our manager $90,000 7, 8 years ago.
well, that guy wasn't worth it.
Well, it was a hurt.
There was a man that was was here when I was moving into the township.
Okay, ma'am, you had a
Just a
question.
question. I just heard, I guess through the grapevines, this new township manager, is it correct that he got a $12,000 sign-on bonus?
You know, that's the problem with the grapevine, man.
I understand that,
I
but
mean,
has- am I too
that's
nosy
the
to ask
problem
question?
township-wide with somebody's, and somebody heard something, or somebody said
I
something.
understand that. Just a simple
Right,
answer, yes
to
or
my
no.
knowledge, and I think,
Simple answer, yes or
I think
no.
I wouldn't, so the answer is no, the simple answer is no.
Okay, and the idea of, I've heard a number of times tonight, we haven't had anybody for so long, so I agree with hiring this person. I don't think that that is the reason to hire
Well, he's
any-
also qualified. I interviewed him. I was very
Okay,
impressed
but
with him.
I've heard a number of times that we haven't had a person in X position for a number of, months, years, whatever. That is not a reason to hire anybody.
I understand, and that's not the reason why.
100%.
I mean, that's part
That
of the
was-
reason.
out of
I
one
did
of
say
the
that,
things,
yes.
First thing out of your mouth was.
It was, but that is part of the reason, but I also interviewed him. I am very impressed with him. He has a passion for municipal work. I don't know this man besides the interview that I had with him, and I was very impressed that you don't get people who are passionate about municipal work like this individual very often. So I hope that once you meet him and see him in action, you'll change your opinion, I guess is what I'm saying. 'Cause
One of the
when I met him, I was shocked.
One of the critical parts, and not the only critical part, is we, as most townships, not all townships have managers at all. There are other arrangements, particularly in smaller rural townships, but it is, in my opinion, a key to have a properly functioning, knowledgeable manager that has upside potential. And I believe this gentleman has that. And if he doesn't, I will be able to make some of those assessments in that probationary period, and I'll address it then. So I don't think he was hired simply because we have none. We need one. He's well qualified, and I was not on that interview committee, but I trust their opinion, as my colleagues do, I believe. And, we're moving forward. The township's moving forward.
You've known him prior, though. You've had prior interaction with him.
No,
You have, 100%. There's
no,
connections all over
we don't wanna
Facebook.
get into this whole
we're
attorney,
gonna get into it.
whole
Facebook.
attorney
We're gonna get into
thing.
it.
We don't wanna
There's
get into
connections
this.
all over Facebook and all over between the two.
Okay, there are not connections
There
on
are.
Facebook,
Go
but
look. You can
Why
find
weren't
This-
it.
the other,
Pretty easy.
this
why
is-
weren't the other candidates given a chance to show their true potential? and
all
how-
You
res-
didn't ask to interview them.
all
You
resumes
walked out of
were
the meeting.
reviewed.
Listen,
Now this,
don't chime in back in.
this,
Why
There's-
weren't
I have a
other
right- I
candidates
have a right to
given a
chime in.
Major
chance
spider
to
web of
interview?
connections
let's
here,
talk,
folks.
let's talk
Major.
one,
Why
let's
can't you
talk one
answer
at a
my
time.
question?
Let's talk
I'm
one at a
talking,
time.
why weren't other candidates given a
They,
chance to
they
interview?
were over
No,
the
they were
last,
not.
they were over the last
No, they were
6
not.
months.
You're lying again.
I do not.
I get the emails
I
of
do
the
not-
applications
I do
and
not
resumes.
agree with your
I
assessment.
don't give what you agree with.
Okay.
You went for your friend and grabbed your other two friends and hired them. That's how we sit here.
But we
That's
asked you,
not
is
true.
there anybody else in that meeting? And I
Everybody
don't
was
recall.
What does
you-
it matter what I say?
Okay,
Okay.
one person
Whatever's
at a
gonna
time.
happen occurs that way.
You're
Okay.
absolutely right, that's the way it goes. That's the way it goes, buddy.
Oh, I'm well aware. And the
And
community's
so
well
is
aware.
everybody else out in the community.
Oh, and it wasn't that way a year ago.
No, we all agreed, disagreed, went one way, went the other way.
All right, moving
Factual.
on.
Yeah, question.
Hold on a second. We're gonna figure out where we're at in the agenda, and we're gonna move on, and then I'll take other questions. All right, so there's a commentary, I think 350,000 all but in liquid fuels, is that correct, Mr. Steve?
Between liquid fuels and turnback, it's almost 400,000. But the line here is, the State Auditor General's office was in to do an audit of how we spend the money, where it goes, make sure that everything's done. Pretty much took all day. Actually, it was 2 days. And, those are things that the manager needs to do.
And in this particular case, Mr. Steve made a Herculean effort to get the information all together and to keep the things processing.
Yeah, without that audit complete, we get no money.
And that's $400,000, and those are the kind of things that'll hopefully, increase. Now, ma'am, you had a question.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask with this, Mr. Deming, he was fired as the Reading Managing Director, and if you did any research into why he was fired before you hired him?
Mr. Nimitz very outcoming with that. It was a change in, mayor, and the mayor had a different direction. He felt like the current regime was a hindrance to his agenda.
I'm not so sure it was a firing as well, as much as a not.
Were that he was fired.
Yeah,
It says fired,
You
yeah.
did detective work into Rudy's background, I wanna know if you did any into his.
yes.
Cause you are saying you have to do due process for his hiring position, but you haven't done due process for the managers.
No, I think we've done a ton of that background, and I
In less
think,
than 24 hours, by the
I
way.
think we're moving forward, ma'am.
You're moving forward.
No, I think the township's moving forward. Ma'am, you have a question. Your name, please.
She's not finished. That's
Are
not
you
right.
finished?
You keep interrupting people.
She wasn't done.
No, I'm not interrupting people.
She wasn't
We've had a
finished, and
public,
you're talking
we've had a
over her.
public comment period. That period's expired. I'm still trying to extend as much courtesy as humanly possible. We've answered your question. We believe,
You skirted around an answer to my question.
no, I believe that it was more of a regime change than anything else. I believe he is going to lead this township forward.
I'm asking if you looked into his background the same way that you've looked into his background. and you're gonna hire
There's
for
not a
position.
comparison there.
There is.
We're not,
She publicly posted on Facebook that it's a very different process to hire. It's not. It's different positions, it's different backgrounds,
that's
it's different
contractual.
qualifications, and everything, but the process is the same. You have multiple applicants. You need to interview all of them, per what she said in the last meeting. But for this position, you didn't interview more than one person.
we've
That's
been
not even due
interviewing all
process.
along. We've made previous offers. So this process has unfolded all along. You're just not aware of that.
I am aware because I follow these meetings even when I'm not here. I sit at home and I watch them.
So we've interviewed a lot of people. Before I was on the board, they interviewed a lot
Yes,
of
but
people.
you admitted in the last meeting, you had 3 applicants. You only interviewed one because you didn't feel the
They
need to
weren't
interview
qualified.
any more.
We wouldn't
after
we wouldn't
this
interview
first
a
interview.
police chief that doesn't have any police background.
Does this other person have background doing
Yes, and they were
township manager?
City of Reading managing director.
She's asking about other applicants,
Other
are you not?
applicants did not have any experience that
I
I
believe
saw
this board-
this round.
I believe this board picked the best candidate, and I believe the probationary period will review his qualifications. And again, we're moving forward.
So we don't have a say.
Stand by.
No, he's made it very clear, we don't have a say in anything. This is his township and he's going to run it the way he sees fit.
My concern is that
It was
if you
almost
do have a
verbatim.
personal relationship with them,
There is no personal relationship, period.
okay, so we're on video, so, okay.
Excuse me?
We're on video, so I can take
We're
your word for
absolutely
that.
on video. I have not talked to either of these two candidates throughout this entire process. I have
No, I
not
wasn't
seen
the question.
Osmer
That wasn't the
in
question.
25 years. You people need to get over some things and move forward.
So you need to get over some things and move forward, because you've been dragging your feet for how long on a police chief? You're crying, we haven't had a
No one
manager
has
since
dragged their
June.
feet. No one
Yes,
has dragged their
you
feet.
have.
No, ma'am.
You have drug your feet. We
That-
have not had
that's-
a township manager
that's-
since June. I understand that. Do not
That's
just yell at
absurd.
me for talking when you were talking. Now you're gonna stop talking and let me talk. We haven't had a township manager since June. I can appreciate that you wanna fill that position, but we haven't had a police chief for longer, and you're literally making this process longer than it needs to be.
Over a year and a half.
A year and a half, we haven't had a police chief.
He didn't pick the right one yet. That's his words, by the way. I haven't found the manager I want yet.
I know.
We don't
I
interview,
was
we
here
recruit.
because he's gonna vote the way
We
his
don't
conscience
interview,
seems, but his
we
conscience isn't
recruit.
the way the township is asking them to vote. Because we don't matter.
Correct. I can't do much because I'm only of one voice.
You could have done a lot in the last year
Okay.
while you did nothing. While
We
you
had to
indicated
get
you
caught in
waited
your
till the
spider
election
webs and-
results. You're gonna let me finish?
No,
Okay.
you don't let these
You
people
talk over
finish.
everybody else.
So I'm gonna tell you what, it's a very clear statement. it was talked about last, you need a nitro or something? You're gonna crack out here. There's a
Excuse me?
very,
Excuse me?
you heard me, your ears work.
No, I didn't hear you.
You heard me very well.
No.
You know, you
I
wanna
didn't hear
play
you.
this
What-
off,
what
why
are you trying
Mr.
to
Rimby,
say?
which if you'd shut up, I could tell you. You wanna play this off, why he didn't put his name in the mix. Why do you think he didn't put his name in the mix?
I don't-
Would anyone wanna work for you?
I don't think about that.
Or what you've created in the last 3-4 months of this board?
So Scott,
Which
why
we,
didn't you guys
how am I
hire me?
talking to you?
Why didn't you
We
hire me?
knew in May what this board was gonna look like. Everybody roll your eyes. We knew in May what this board was gonna look like. So did Mr. Rimby.
Okay.
So when he says, you know what, I don't know. I agree. And now,
So
he's
why,
made the
why
decision to
from
give it
May
a
till,
shot.
from May till December, why didn't you hire him if that's what you wanted to do? You
Because
had
you
no
said no.
problem
But get
calling,
him
no,
a
no, wait a
contract
second, you
with
had no problem
protections.
calling a special meeting, getting
You
3
call
votes
lots
to
of them for
to-
managers.
No, three supervisors, vote in a union contract, you had no problem, a few days before the end of the year. The
Because our
majority,
labor
the
attorney said
majority
we
doesn't
needed to.
seem to work when it doesn't work for you. So this is a majority board vote. That's the way this is. Sometimes you agree, sometimes you disagree. Now, let's see what happens, folks. Let's see how it goes.
The problem is our board isn't made up of 5 people anymore, it's made up of 3.
True. That is true. And you probably hired another yes man. And you said about you left public comment earlier. You mean people can't comment through the course of the meeting if they have a question?
Typically, when we're voting on stuff, no. But I've gone out of my way to listen to, and I'll continue to do it.
So maybe that's why people don't come to the meeting, because they can't voice their opinion if something comes up other than comment time.
Well, I think since I've been in office, I've noticed, I've come to the meetings over the past year, people were getting cut off at the 3-minute marker. We're not cutting people off, we're letting people talk. We let somebody talk for 15 minutes last meeting. So I get what you're saying, like in this part of the agenda, but in citizens' concerns, we're just making sure that everybody can have their time and we're not
Well, that's
limiting
true.
that.
People have had their time, but if something comes up throughout the meeting
Yeah,
and
you should
people
ask
have
questions.
questions, they should be able to
Yeah.
ask
And,
questions.
and they have been, ma'am.
Right
they have been,
now,
like the
but you're-
data center,
You're rolling your eyes,
they have-
you're trying to cut them
Ma'am,
off.
I'm not rolling my eyes. If you want to know something personal, I'm blind. I was blind totally in this eye. Okay, so if you see me fidgeting, it's been surgically repaired. If you've seen me fidgeting or occasionally looking at, there is a little problem there, ma'am.
And your head too, you know, it's like you have a problem with that.
Okay.
That, what you just did there is what we're talking about. It's the dismissive attitude that you give. for
Nothing
all
is
of us.
dismissive, ma'am, about I'm sharing
Your
with
tone
you.
right now is dismissive and condescending.
Okay, could
I
we
second that.
move on with the meeting instead of the personal attacks?
It's not a personal attack.
That's
We're
exactly what it
asking
is.
questions, you wanna say that we get to ask questions, and you do everything in your power never to provide
I-
an actual
I-
answer to any of them.
I didn't, what was your question?
I didn't ask you a question this
Okay.
time, last time I did.
Okay.
You got the same attitude.
Okay, item D.
Okay, we're moving on to item D.
Can I ask my
Municipal
question?
recreation area. Hold on one second.
All right.
Let us get one item done. Municipal recreation areas season opening.
All right, we're in the process of trying to open the parks. Everybody thinks you just go down here, turn the key, and you can get automatically open. You don't. We have to do water testing. We have to purge the system. There's a lot of work that goes into that process. Last year, we got a notice of violation from DEP for not following the process, and that happened right prior to me taking over in June. So we are working on that process. Barry's been very instrumental in helping flush the systems and get it started.
No, I didn't forget about you, man, but we're gonna finish Roman numeral 6. Barry, I don't know if you have other commitments this evening, but you wanna request a motion for mowing?
Yes.
Okay, and I saw 1 or 2 bids come in, or 1 bid?
No,
Um,
so,
I know one came to me, I don't know how many, Harold, that you.
okay, so I think that we need to talk about this. I have 2 people, they didn't make formal bids, they just come in and they said, hey, you know, we'd like to do mowing, and both of them gave me prices on their mowing. Now, do we have to do a formal bid process, or
Like 22,400 is the limit.
22,000.
23.
23?
400 is the limit.
Yeah, I think the one is actually at that number.
That's a lot of mowing.
Well, 6 months of mowing, the other one I got is considerably higher.
So then we do have to advertise.
Yeah, if you're over that limit,
Where was we're at that limit.
you need like right there.
Yeah.
If you've gotten proposals and one is under, then you are under.
So, we can talk about it Thursday and I'll get the
Yeah, how many-
full paperwork.
how many do you
Yeah.
have?
Have you seen the one that's under, Barry? Are you clear on the one he's talking about
Yeah.
that's under?
Yep.
You think that's a possibility, or is it?
Yeah.
Okay, well then we'll talk about it Thursday.
We had two other guys that were supposed to come in and give prices, but
Oh,
I've
they
not,
responded, okay.
have not heard anything.
Well, let's
They-
see it.
They actually come in, you know, all of this happened from the watching of the YouTube video.
All right, let's see then if any other people come in. So you're all aware that we have a drop box for the flags. Thanks to all those who participated in that, particularly the scouting troop. Thank you.
I saw an email from Jeff. You were planning the first one for July 4th. Is that correct?
Yes, 10 o'clock?
Yes, if that is okay with the board.
That's a flag retirement ceremony
Correct.
conducted by the scouts.
And that would be held
At Walter Park,
at the park.
10 o'clock at the park.
Okay.
Just need to go, no go from the board.
Municipal repository discussion, Mr. Steve.
Okay, so there is someone bid and was awarded a purchase of a property on Walton Avenue. This county requires us to sign off on this repository bid, whether we accept it or reject it. This is in the Green Hills Lake area. Most of these lots just keep cycling through. People buy them and then they find out they can't build on them, just keep cycling through. You know, we had a policy a few years back where we actually bought some of these to stop that. And at the same time, we thought we might be able to use them for pumping stations in the event the sewer goes through. This particular property here, I don't understand why there's two different addresses for the same people, but it looks like these people own adjacent property. So we have to either make a motion to accept it or reject it. The lot is 20 by 100.
And that must be done tonight or no?
We actually probably should have had it done already.
So that's a yes.
Yeah.
What do you know about this Solicitor Marola?
We were saying with the two addresses. You said, I see the one in Temple.
Yeah, so that's their mailing address.
Yeah.
But the property is actually on Walton Avenue.
Right.
And what I understand is they also have an address on Walton Avenue.
Oh, okay.
So I don't get why the second address.
Well, I guess the decision is, as Mr. Steve was saying, is these properties, when they're not developed, doesn't pay, just keeps going through the same cycle again. So if you accept it, it will go on the rolls again, is like, I guess the upside, right? It doesn't get paid when they realize they're not gonna be able to do anything with it, and it goes through again. Or if you use it as a policy to try to get some of these together, so the township can kind of control an area.
So you say, if in fact these are the people that own the adjacent properties, like I said, the same name, just two different addresses, you know, I think it would be fine to let them go ahead and add to their property, because that's the ultimate goal.
Yeah, so trying to see the other address, if they're neighboring and they're adding to their property.
Yeah,
That happens also with depositories, people look around, they find something they think they can flip real quick, or they're adding to their property.
Well, that's that property up there at Zion and 10, where that guy has that camper sitting there now, that's been sheriff's sale half a dozen times, and people buy it, find out can't do nothing with it, and then they just let it go again.
Right.
So are you making a motion of some type, Mr. Steve? Do you have a feeling of which direction you might want to go?
I would make a motion that we approve this, and accept the bid based on the fact that these people own the adjoining property.
Is there a second to that?
I'll second it.
All those in favor? Mr. Rhodes?
Yes.
Mr. Gullo?
Yes.
Ms. Fix?
Yes.
Mr. Steve?
Yeah.
And I'll vote yes. We already discussed the Meraki Manor thing, the children at play sign for Quarry Road.
Yeah, a woman, I don't remember her name off the top of my head, called in, and she would like us to put a sign on Quarry Road, up in the area of, I forget what that little street is that turns off up there, right before the quarry. But anyway, she would like it in that area, or she would like a sign that would say, school bus stop or something. But she's concerned about her kids being out along the road during the traffic.
So what do we need to do that? What have we done?
Is this a children near the right-of-way situation, or is this a school bus situation? Both are advisory signs, you can erect them at will, but I think we should put the right sign up, the correct sign up.
All right, I'll try and get a hold of her and see what,
Yeah.
Wasn't, speaking of children, wasn't there a email about the children at play sign on Proudfoot being
Yes,
knocked down?
There was.
Is it up?
It is not.
Okay. But it's on your radar.
Yes, actually, that's tomorrow. We've been paving all week. And
Okay.
Brett now doesn't work on Fridays, so Fridays are to-do list over here.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. There are two supervisors report. Mr. Supervisor Rhodes has completed his. There's no update on the sewer lease. I want to come back. Someone had raised their hand. Go ahead, ma'am.
I guess my question.
Could I just have your name and whether you're a township resident or not?
Rachel Boyson, yes, I am a township resident.
Thank you.
My question's kind of twofold. For the township manager, I know we don't really have a say at this point, but was the salary posted for $90,000 initially, or was that just offered for this applicant?
As I recall, the budgeted amount was more than that. Our prior manager was making more than that. I think he was making $100,000.
Okay.
So I hope that clarifies that.
I
think
work in recruiting, so according to Indeed, township managers of a smaller side are on the average of 50 to 75, and then Harrisburg, Pittsburgh size are in the hundreds. So, I mean, we're not really Harrisburg, Pittsburgh size. So I was just kind of wondering where that discrepancy was coming from.
You had a second question?
That was my second question.
Okay.
Do you have an answer to that question?
It's in the budget as that price. I wasn't here when we approved the budget, but
I
it's
again
actually
think,
lower
I again
than
think
what's
the
on the
man
budget.
is worth it. I think it's what this township needs. I think it's within our budget, and I think it's a win-win.
It just seems extremely high to me.
Not at all, man.
Okay.
Respectfully, I disagree.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Each have their own opinion.
Do you have it documented somewhere, the amount of money that this supervisors group says? Is it?
I'm
did
sorry, ma'am, I
somebody-
don't understand the question.
Okay, you told me there was some supervisors group that you're a
The
member of.
benchmarking that you did.
PSATs.
Oh,
is-
PSATs.
Yeah, it's
That's
a,
I just looked it up and you can't find it on PSAT.
you have to have the login as a member,
right, you have
yeah.
to be a member.
So what, do you have that documented somewhere that you looked it up on PSAT? Doesn't matter what somebody was previously paid, if they're overpaid, that should be a concern.
That's what we use to base the budget on.
I'm asking you if you have that somewhere,
We do somewhere.
documentation
We do.
that shows what it is based on
If not, we
township
can,
size.
if not, we can get it again.
Okay, the fire if we're all done, the fire companies, I see Mr. Fix here. You have
Yeah,
anything?
to have, I think when I took over in January, I was asking about the safety vehicle on 176. Did anybody look into that?
I didn't hear the last part of that.
Safety vehicle.
Safety
Who looked
vehicle, I
into
think
it?
it's the State Farm safety vehicle.
I think we did
to
help
us
about that,
with
but I don't
traffic
remember the
control
outcome.
on 176. I don't know how we get a hold of them. When I talked to the guy who drove the vehicle, he said your township has to contract with them. With state police being now in charge of 176, we haven't had the issue yet, but they can have long lead times when and I don't wanna tie up our personnel or vehicles up there directing traffic when they're not needed. Also, it was brought to my attention the flashing light in front of the state indication does not work when we push the buttons. So the
flashing lights or green arrow?
the flashing lights. The green arrow will work, but you gotta hit it a couple of times. So,
Is that included in our upgrade?
It's included in our upgrade, but I think we could call telco and have them look into that situation. I mean, that should work.
so we've been trying to use it, but it's brought to my attention that it doesn't function. And just the radio thing that we talked about earlier, and just for information, we ran 54 calls last month. And I believe the report was submitted by email.
I think that's in our packet, and it seems like real progress has been made. It's my assessment of that situation. Anything from, is that it, Mr. Fix?
That's it for me.
Anything from Friendship?
Next Thursday.
Anything from our emergency? If not, we have in our packet the draft minutes. We can approve those next week. And I'd entertain a motion to accept the reports identified with a singular asterisk that are in our packet. Do I hear a motion to that effect?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Sorry, Maggie, I'll make a motion to approve.
You're good. I knew what you meant for that.
Approve what?
The reports.
The reports that
Summary
we have.
report.
With a
Yeah,
singular
that's,
asterisk,
yeah, that's what I thought you were.
No, I was just getting it. You're
All
good.
those in favor of Mr. Rhodes?
Yes.
Mr. Gullo?
Yes.
Ms. Fix?
Yes.
Mr. Steve?
Yeah.
And I'll vote yes. I think that brings us to item 10, our planning and engineering.
Okay, good evening, board. I circulated my reports. The first item for you is with respect to Quaker Ridge Phase 5. This is actually two phases. There's a 5A and a 5.1 and a 5.2, I think it was titled. The maintenance period associated with our dedication expired April 1st. So the developer is seeking to release those funds. Now, I also know that our solicitor has been working on dedication documents.
Right, no resolutions on that later on.
Correct. So we do have a resolution for you a little bit later on. That resolution was previously approved by the board, but never recorded properly, as I understand it.
Correct.
Okay. Now, there's some discrepancy with respect to, and I know Harold has done some research with this as well, what we believe should have been held currently in those accounts, and what has actually been determined based upon correspondence, at least phone calls with the surety as far as what is held within those accounts. The township should be holding a financial security of $79,981.68. What I understand Customers Bank is holding, and Harold, you might not know the exact number, but what I had before the last time we spoke was $474,642.40.
Yeah, it's almost 500,000.
So I believe what happened was the board had approved releases and they were never provided to the developer's surety to draw that security. So I had a conversation with the developer going back probably 2 or 3 months now when this came to light. And essentially what we agreed to is his surety wasn't up for renewal, so he agreed just hold it so that we're not going through this twice and he's paying the freight of the township and myself to prepare reports for that. So, long and short of this is, we are holding over $470,000 that should now be released. The dedication documents have been resolved and are before you later in the meeting, so I don't know if it'd be more appropriate to finalize that and make sure that's recorded, or make this motion a condition of having those recorded. But I believe that the developer is certainly due a full release of any remaining financial security.
Yeah, I believe he signed off on the deeds of dedication.
He signed his deed of dedication and he dropped it off.
Right.
Later on, item 11A, we have the resolution to accept the deed of dedication. And then he indicated he would pick those both up and handle the recording. So if we wanted to go out of order, you could approve the resolution to accept the deed of dedication, item 11A. And if you did that, I think you could approve this release, contingent on the acceptance of those documents in recorder's
All right,
office.
so you need a motion to take the meeting out of order, is that correct?
Yeah.
I'll make that motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor, Mr. Rhodes?
Yes.
Mr. Gullo?
Yes.
Ms. Fix?
Yes.
Mr. Steve?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes. Taking the meeting out of order and addressing Roman numeral
It's 11A.
11A, I'd entertain a motion to adopt the resolution to accept the deed of dedication from Quaker Hill Development Company.
I'll make a motion that we, pass resolution 2026-12, for the deed of dedication for Quaker Hill Development Company.
I'll second the motion.
All those in favor, Mr. Rhodes?
Yes.
Mr. Gullo?
Yes.
Ms. Fix?
Yes.
Mr. Steve?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes. Now back to the next motion. From our engineer, you need a motion for,
So I would request a motion from the board that any remaining financial security associated with Quaker Ridge Phase 5-1 and 5-2 be released once proof of recording of the deeds of dedication and the resolution have been provided.
What are those phases?
So
What are the phases?
that 5, it was labeled Phase 5, and they were in Roman numerals, V-1 and V-2, 5-1 and 5-2.
so I'd entertain a motion to that effect.
I'll make that motion, with the condition that, we don't release the funds until the deed comes back to us.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second the motion.
Seconded by Mr. Rhodes. All those in favor, Mr. Rhodes?
Yes.
Mr. Gullo?
Yes.
Ms. Fix?
Yes.
Mr. Steve?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes.
Harold, just a quick reminder, we need to record both the resolution and the deed, and they can be recorded together, so. We just need, to get them on liquid fuels, I need the resolution recorded as well.
Okay.
Next item is Old River Road Bridge. There's been a significant amount of planning involved in how we're going to protect that bridge, as 724 is shut here on the 20th. And in the midst of that, within the past few days, we received a priority notice from our new bridge inspector with respect to the beams and their state of disrepair, I suppose. We were back out there today, Harold, Barry, myself. We met with the contractor for the 724 bridge, as well as PennDOT's engineer for the 724 bridge, requesting any assistance that they can provide us with temporary repairs to our structure on Old River Road, which again is slated for replacement once 724 opens back up. I don't know that we made a lot of progress, but we have a plan, at least to continue to protect our structure. So I think the first request of the board would be to maybe reach out to other state and local officials to continue to request assistance to at least perform some type of temporary repairs, design repairs, to that bridge, any assistance that the state could provide, given that we fully anticipate that bridge to see more traffic as part of that closure. We are going to do everything we can to prevent that, and those efforts would be twofold. Barry and I reviewed locations for road closure signs on Old River Road. We also had some discussions, and I've done some research with respect to one of the concerns that we've heard from school bus drivers and others is it's very difficult to see as you approach the bridge. We are looking at reducing that bridge to a single lane bridge during this time, and adding a stop sign at each approach. So I did some research when I got back to the office. We are fully permitted to do that, given the priority notice that we are under. I have those documents prepared in draft form. I guess tonight seeking authorization from the board to proceed with the road closure signage and also the stop sign and single lane bridge action as well.
There is no alternative to that, correct?
Well, yeah.
Let it ride.
We could have, somebody come in and repair the bridge quickly, but, we'd had 10 days to do that, and I just don't see that as happening. My big concern is, that bridge will be inspected every 2 months, and 2 months from now, they determine it's no longer roadworthy, and we have no way of getting the other side of the township. So we're cut off from fire, ambulance, police, the whole bit. So, I wasn't very comfortable with PennDOT's answer. And I was kind of looking some direction whether, the board thinks that, maybe we should be calling some legislators and seeing whether we can get some assistance to either not close that bridge until this one's fixed, or let them fix the bridge.
Is that an option that like we can make that 724 bridge stay open if we put in
Well,
pressure?
it isn't if we don't ask.
Yeah.
So, I mean, legislators have a lot more, authority and power than we do. We can't force them to not do the project. One of the reasons they need to stick to their schedule is, they're going to de-energize the lines on 724, the power grid feeds, and they'll be re-energized at other parts, so just that section will be closed. And they need to bring a rig in, like a well digger, or not a well digger, but a derrick type thing, and they have to drill new pylons to start working on this new bridge. So there's a lot of moving parts, and I just don't think that we want to be in a position where we're risking the safety of our residents for a bridge repair. I mean, that's my take on it.
I just said the website says that it closed in January.
Yes,
until
yes,
October.
yeah,
So
right. So
the
it's still-
schedule that you're talking about
Yes.
is a little wishy-washy.
Yeah, so they did notify us they were gonna close in January, but it never happened. Now they're saying, April 20th to October.
Oh. Wow.
Season's greetings,
So before
right?
it was January to October, now it's April to
Or, and it
so
might end up being trick or treat. But it's a long time for that to be out without the opportunity for us to be able to reach the other side with.
Oh, yeah,
And this bridge, it looks bad.
It's
just
gonna be
put a-
really hard for everyone
like-
to see, but the webbing and the beams
Oh,
is
I have
gone.
colored ones.
Yep, I could crawl through the beams on that bridge.
Yeah, the color
There,
was.
there are kind of sections missing of the beams. So, yeah, this is probably the ugliest one.
And we haven't contacted legislators yet?
Well,
I feel like
Just
that's a
found out
tomorrow
about
morning
this.
thing.
I did,
Okay.
First
Just
thing.
found out.
Okay.
We were aware of some of this, but not to the extent of which we
Got
were
it.
just informed.
Yeah.
And we were always fully intending to take precautions to limit traffic on this road as the bridge is closed. It's a huge concern, really,
Yeah.
once people find out that they can do this. But we do want the road to remain at least passable for school buses,
Right.
emergency vehicles,
Okay.
things of that nature.
And rush hour, that thing's backed up.
well, yeah, we're trying to deter that, but I don't care what we do,
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
people gonna go.
Yeah, yeah,
And once they do, this is gonna really beat this bridge up.
yeah, yeah.
So, they're saying, well, there's not a problem today, well, we're supposed to look
There's a
at,
problem.
Yeah.
You can see
Right.
through the beams, yeah.
so, we're supposed to look beyond that. So, if the board would like, I'll make the phone calls,
Why
to,
can't you go to them? Phone calls don't mean anything. Why can't you personally go to them?
to our legislators.
Yeah,
Oh, the one's not a problem, the other one's in southern Lancaster County or Harrisburg.
so what?
Well, whatever means you have to do what you gotta do.
Their traffic study was 12,000 cars on average day on 724. I'm gonna tell you at least half of them are gonna take that bridge. And more as they figure it out.
And then all you need is some person that's not thinking real well to take a semi. And then while we were there, a couple of track trucks went over, and then the other problem we're gonna have is most people haven't driven on an open grate metal bridge. The minute they're wet, it's like driving on ice. And this particular one, you come off it and you turn hard. So you're getting the fish down as you come across it, but.
So you're gonna make a genuine effort, Mr. Steve, to make some contacts as early as tomorrow, correct?
I can certainly start my.
Is anybody on this board opposed to that? Okay, then consider that.
Just make a motion, to let me do it.
I'll make a motion to let Harold reach out with a big stick and see what he can get done with this bridge.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
All those in favor? Mr. Rhodes?
Yes.
Mr. Gillo?
Yes.
Ms. Fix?
Yes.
Mr. Steve?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes.
Second piece of that puzzle is, and I don't know what kind of pricing we have together, Harold, but to allow Barry to purchase the signs to essentially list the road closed to through traffic, as well as myself to finalize the report to issue the one-lane bridge, which would then allow us to install the stop signs. But I do believe we'll need an ordinance for the stop signs, correct? So my study would go with that ordinance to basically make the stop signs enforceable.
Now, since the stop sign is gonna be probably temporary in nature, how do we really wanna do that? We wanna revise the ordinance we have, or create an ordinance just for a stop sign?
And that's not like a quick process.
Well,
Well,
it needs advertised, but,
Yeah.
and my report will say that, you know, the stop signs are only needed as long as the priority notice is in place, essentially. But as far as procedurally, I'm not sure the best solution.
Is there nothing that we could just do like for construction, like a temporary stop sign for construction that just doesn't exist?
I don't think that we want signs out there that the police cannot enforce.
Oh,
And they
yeah.
need the resolution to, or the ordinance, I'm sorry, to enforce their stop
Yeah,
signs.
that makes sense.
And if we find out what the, oh, never mind, I wanna ask that question.
Okay, so where are we going then exactly?
So, if you would like, we can start working to prepare, an ordinance for the placement of those stop signs. And, as well as, what we didn't really talk about, where you wanna put the barriers.
Well, we were talking about type 3 barricades, so I don't, you know, my report basically says that will be established in the field.
Okay.
So we'll finalize the report, we'll get working on all the signage and have a resolution, or an ordinance for you, I'm sorry, as soon as we're able to get that together and advertise it.
Barry, do you remember what the barricades were?
Cost-wise?
Yeah.
It's in the.
It's actually under,
22.
Okay.
eighty of our insurance.
Oh, I was looking in the wrong spot,
Yeah.
sorry.
For the 4 of them is $2,200.
So we'll get to you shortly. In the meantime, we're looking for a motion for that ordinance. Is that what you're looking for, Harold?
Do we need a motion?
Yeah.
Just authorization of repair.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
So yes or
If
no?
if you wanna do a motion to authorize preparing the ordinance, you
Okay,
can do that.
okay, so we'll make a motion to authorize the preparation of an ordinance, for the installation of, stop signs at the, Old River Road and Allegheny Bridge crossing.
I'll second it.
All those in favor? Mr. Rhodes?
Yes.
Mr. Gillo?
Yes.
Ms. Fix?
Yes.
Mr. Steve?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes.
All right, thank you. Next item, 2026 street work. Both contracts have been finalized, awarded. My understanding, Barry, based upon the meeting on Monday, Tuesday,
Tuesday.
was, or is, that the last week of May could be oil and chip. We haven't received a time frame yet on the paving contract. But based upon our conversation today, I'm thinking that probably gets pushed by at least a week by the time we get there, just due to weather. But that's where we're at there. Green Light Go grant has been finalized and submitted before the end of March. And I just thought it was worth highlighting for the board that we received letters of support from the Berks County Planning Commission for that application. We received a letter of support from the Twin Valley School District for that application, as well as Mark Gillen's office. So they were all submitted with our application as well, and I thank them for their time and support. Next item is the data center ordinance. I know we hit on that pretty heavily under public comment. I thank the EAC for their input. I'm sure you'll at least be present if you can for the planning commission meeting on the 4th.
If I can, yeah.
And we will work to get your comments in place in the draft that will be before the planning commission at their meeting.
Right. Some of the same things that you know, as you had mentioned
Sure.
before, are
Yeah.
the same things that Harold had brought up, so I think we're all kind of in the same boat, which is good.
So again, our goal is to bring that back before you next month. That's all I have, unless you have questions in the report. I think that's it.
Hearing no questions, Mr. Marola.
Thank you. So the resolution you've already taken care of.
The Breitenstein matter,
It's on
this board has authorized our solicitor to proceed, with the review of that situation in the letter. And I guess we'll get to that, correct?
Yeah.
All right.
And number C, or excuse me, letter C you have there, we don't have approval back from Norman Township yet. So I put it on there hoping that maybe it would be done, but I don't have their approval yet. So let's continue to have it there until we get it. Hopefully they'll get to it before next Thursday.
That concludes your
Any
report?
questions?
Barry?
Good evening, board. The first thing on the agenda I have is request permission for the Public Works Department to attend the Berks County Public Works meeting. That's at Oley. I know there's no date in there, but it is April 15th.
I'll make a motion for, how many of you are attending, or all of you?
At this point here, I'm gonna say it's probably just gonna be the four of us.
Okay, so I'll make a motion for the 4 of you to attend the Berks County Public Works meeting in Oley on April 15th.
I'll second it.
All those in favor, Mr. Rhodes?
Yes.
Mr. Gullo?
Yes.
Ms. Fix?
Yes.
Mr. Steve?
Yeah.
I'll vote yes.
All right, thank you, board. Next item, we are just about done replacing pipe on Cacalico and Plow Road. We're finishing up paving with Brecknock Township, so I'm going to, as long as weather holds out, we're looking at the later part of next week, for paving here, and that's gonna roughly take, I'm gonna say 2 weeks, so, looking at the dates, I'm hoping to be done by the first week of May, as far as paving on Cacalico and Plow Road, and that is in preparation of the oil and chip.
Hold on a second, Barry, there's a question.
Yeah, I have a question about the Cocalico Road, where you're putting those pipes in. The stone or whatever you're using to fill in, there's a big hole at several of them, and when you go down the road, if you don't slow way up,
Yeah,
damage your cars.
there are cones there at each crossing that says slow.
Can't you put more dirt in them?
We can, we actually do every day. We go and put the stone back in, but it just kicks out. So we are waiting so we can pave. Just quick reference, the blacktop plant down here, South Reading, was supposed to be open. They are not. Silver Hill is not open. Today when we were paving with Brecknock Township, we were driving all the way to Hinkletown to get blacktop. So I don't see it cost effective, especially with the price of diesel fuel, for us to run all the way to Hinkletown for a little bit of blacktop. I know it's a little bit of an inconvenience, and you'll have to slow up a little bit, but at this point here, we're just waiting for local blacktop plants to open up.
I don't mind waiting, I just like the holes fixed, so we don't wreck our cars.
Yeah, yep, everything will be paved in, and
No, before it's paved, that's what I'm talking about now.
yeah, we go out every day and we put the stone back in, but as cars drive over it, it kicks out.
Okay.
All right. We touched on the Old River Road Bridge. There's really nothing more. I think everything was said that needed to be said about that. And requesting the approval to purchase 4 of the Class 3 barricades for Old River Road. And that approximate cost is $2,200, and that will come out of line 433-140, which is the signs, street lights, and such.
You know what the lead time is on that?
I knew you were gonna ask that. She's telling me 4 to 6 weeks.
Ooh,
Yeah.
not good. Yeah.
Yeah.
We do, I mean, we could, obviously, we have our own temporary signage that we could put up in place, but obviously the end result is we need the Class 3 barricades up there.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll make a motion that we purchase the 4, Class 3 barricades, for the Old River Road project at a cost of $2,200 from line item 443.140.
Is there a second to that motion?
I will second that.
All those in favor, Mr. Rhodes?
Yes.
Mr. Gullo?
Yes.
Ms. Fix?
Yes.
Mr. Steve?
Yeah.
And I'll vote yes.
Thank you, Board, that's all I have.
Park and Rec, flag football, what can you tell me?
All right, so you have to look in your thing here. There's all kinds of requests coming in for the park.
I'm asking our chairman of the Park and Rec Board.
Okay.
What can you tell me?
Flag football, they are new this year. They looked at us last year. They're coming to do football, which is great. It's gonna be at Gibraltar on the far side of the baseball field, where the big field is as far as that goes. They give us 2 days a week. Not sure the dates off the top of my head.
And once before, we had a problem with the field being somewhat destroyed. Have we given that any consideration?
We had a big talk about that. They were very well aware of that. And at the same meeting we had, just a general meeting, we had flag ball there as well. We had flag football there to discuss the field. And they were very clear that, they will take care of that field. Very honest about it. And they admit that things could happen, and we said if it happens, we need to get it fixed. And nice people, we said let's go for it. It's always good to get people using that field in the township.
Okay.
So do we need to make a motion to?
Well, once again, we have food vendors coming on site.
Are we having,
Did they talk about that at all? Who they are, what their licenses are, or?
Did not mention food vendors to us. That's new.
On this flyer, it has.
On its flyer, it has food vendor trucks.
All right, that's new to me then.
we better make sure everybody's insured, or we're named insured, that those affairs are in order.
I think we definitely need to get a better process in place for this stuff because at the end, this event's the end of April, and now we're
Yeah.
Right.
probably tough on them.
Yeah, we have, park rules saying what you have to have in order to have vendors there and stuff like that. So, I guess we'll have to have Paula reach out to these guys and say, hey, no food vendors unless you pay the fee and provide the documentation.
Right. And I can research as well too. Now I know about it. I'll take a look.
Do you want, I can give you this. 'Cause
That's even better.
I have it in email. Thank you.
Thanks.
Is that it for the Park and Rec?
2 things would be mulch day is Saturday. So we have windows and mulch going out to Gibraltar. And then Bruce mentioned flag retirement ceremony. We'd like to request July 4th, 10 o'clock. And we go to Gibraltar Park. The one request is we do want to bury the ashes at the park, if that's okay with the board. We'll find a spot away, but that's the proper way to bury the ashes. If that works with you, we can advertise that.
I think it's a good idea. I suggest the burial up by the monument, maybe behind the monument. We could, 'cause I got a feeling this isn't gonna be your first time.
Hopefully it's an annual thing.
I think it, depending how much we store them, I think it will go over. There's a couple other items, moving forward that are not agenda items, but not necessarily under Park and Rec. But as it relates to that flag retirement box, I'm hoping someone can provide an appropriate box / vessel with which to place some food, so that the goal would be that nobody in the township would, have to look for a meal in a particular time. We talked about this a number of months ago, but it would be good to have kind of a food donation pantry. They're popular in other areas, and that's a suggestion I think we'll talk about going forward. In addition to that, I wouldn't mind seeing a place for perhaps reading material. My vision would be perhaps one of those older newspaper, you know, I used to buy a newspaper, and that way we would be able to have, nobody would be hungry, nobody would be without something to read should they choose. And then we also talked about, from a policing standpoint, a drug drop-off center. I was approached by a township resident that ended up going to Birdsboro. But if we can endeavor to make sure people are not hungry, that there are drugs being removed when possible, and drug paraphernalia, I think those are all positive steps moving forward. The last issue that I've approached from one charitable organization is what I call a warming center, so that should there be an extended period, an outage, I'm thinking, subject to our discussions with our emergency management people, first responders, et cetera, that we have 2 areas in the township that if some people are out of power or need a place to get out of the cold, they would have that option. So that's an aggressive agenda for this year, but you can't wait till it's cold to open that type of facility. And I'll elaborate more on that, in months to come. So for anybody that may have some ideas on what I call a food pantry, I think it's well worth the try.
Did you have an idea?
Yeah, kind of going alongside of the warming station for the summer months, if power goes out, also water stations too.
Good idea. All right, moving on then, we have no reports from the municipal authority, EAC.
I do want to mention one thing.
This is on the municipal authority?
On the municipal authority. Our developer up at Green Hills Estates was supposed to bring in a check actually over a month ago, for $10,000 to cover some inspection fees that were occurring up there. It turns out the inspection fees are running considerably more than that. He still hasn't brought in the check. And I called him today, and he'll have it to me tomorrow, he says. But he said that before. So we may be visiting this again on Thursday to take something to take it a step further. The other thing is, I don't know what everybody's recollection is on us assuming, as in the township assuming responsibility for that sewer plant, but he is of the belief that we're gonna do it the day it goes live. And that is not my understanding. My understanding it's 5 years or after the first person hooks up from the Green Hills Lake. So,
I think this is something that's gonna need to be addressed, Mr. Marola.
So, I invited him to the sewer authority meeting so he can discuss it, but he claims he's been trying to reach out to Joan and she's not returned his calls, so I called Joan and she said she's not heard a word from him. So, I think we need to resolve this before all the lots are sold.
All right, we'll have our solicitor look at that. I think I understand the issue. I was concerned about that issue a year ago, and here we are. EAC, nothing, no new business or old business covered under the data center. I think we will go into executive session to discuss some personnel matters. I'd like our solicitor to join us. It is no action intended, however, I would reserve that comment. You're all welcome to stay. Understand the YouTube is on. Sometimes executive sessions are 5 minutes, sometimes they're longer. so feel free to stay around. And thank you for those who are leaving, thank you for coming out.
Do you make the notes
Did you
for
get
the meeting? Yes. Because there's, in the meeting from February, it says that like,
See ya, take care.
I asked, Rick Kennedy stated that the data center proposal was initially presented in April. The EAC commented, okay, blah, blah, blah. Multiple neighbors requested the board not to be proactive with the information that they have.
This one was actually Paula, because I was in Florida for those minutes, so she took.
Okay, I did send this to her, and I, see, who writes these notes? Because I was like, and I didn't want to do a big thing, so I just thought, I'll just touch base with her.
But I'll follow up with her tomorrow too, just to make
Okay,
sure.
do you want me to forward this?
Yeah, if you don't mind, because she kindly filled in while I was in Florida.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so
no, that's fine, I
that's-
just wanted, like, I just
That's
didn't
funny, the
want
one that you say is that one.
Where's it going?
Do you mind?
Thanks.
Of course.
It's like,
I don't type this email very often. I'm like, what is it? Alright. Thank you.
Yep, we'll go out. All right, I'm getting out of here.
I can go through what I have, I don't know if I have that specific agreement, but let me know. Sure. So we can get speed limit signs, that would have, that's the difference by. Yeah, that's where we can write a letter. It would be 25. I'll tell you now, because it's residential, it meets the residential area requirements, and 25 is as well. Yeah. And we can certainly post it no parking, but bring it. Yes, we'll break it up in public, it's on the agenda. Yeah, it's essentially 2 letters that we write and then we have this. And look, we should have a speed limit sign. It should be. I noticed oh, the first thing we should do is check to make sure is it in ordinance. First, step one, that's very easy. Get it very we have discussed doing like an inventory of roads that we have them, because I know that we don't have the either. And we can do that. Yours is a very simple one. There's some others who use but it's not a huge one. But yeah, that's the process. Ask on Thursday, I'll be here.
We're good, thank you so much, I'll read through everything again, and I know that.
Whatever I send out.
Yeah, literally all those people walk out, like, they left the building,
Data center ordinance, that then
Are you not?
submitted to
Here's how it works.
November.
Here's how it works. The walls are up, then 3 up there are up. And so is the other ones. So the data center's got billions of dollars. All they gotta do is fill their pockets and give them what they want. That's the way it is. She's in their pocket. As you see, you got 3 up there, you got 2 buildings here. Okay? It all boils down to money. So you'll come here, you'll pay them off.
I don't think I rushed into it, I think I
You'll pay them all off. They didn't care for it.
Yeah, I know, it's like, once they
I
put it,
fought
it's like there, it's high.
North Pro.
I don't know if you saw me. I was just from the things that I read and they've seen, the homes in the area are just. But they're not saying the impact. Continuous noises. So many decibels. Well, those decibel levels are based on 8-hour workdays. Not on 24 hours a day.
They never gave them
7
money.
days a week.
It's all showmanship.
You know,
They came to me and told me about it.
Nobody cares about
How I
the
deal with
hours.
people, I'll go buy a 24-foot truck
It's like, oh, just
and I'll
read it.
put a billboard on it. And I park right in the center, right over there.
Right after that,
That's obviously you can.
And that afternoon, guess what? I got their money. Sure, it takes office, so he's not in. I said, this is the gentleman that has the billboard over there. Oh, wait a minute. He got this on the phone. They had $10,000.
Yeah, there's an awful lot of them going on. Miners too, yeah, but.
They used to block my driveway up here. My driveway used to go across the railroad tracks.
Yeah.
I told them they had my driveway blocked.
You don't know that.
Next
Usually
day,
shut that down.
for 3 minutes I stayed there. Next day, at 3 o'clock, I parked there on the railroad tracks. On my driveway. I parked it there. I said, guess what, you're not going today. For 4 years. You ain't going down there. See my and they showed up out there, they wanted to shut the driveway down. So you shut it down. I ain't come out to my house. What can we do here? Hey, $10,000. So shut it down. Shut it down. He asked me how much I wanted.
Yeah, but it's a CAI, it's gonna be the artificial intelligence.
I'm calling back. I gotta come back there.
Who is it? Who's the company that's going to run
Yeah,
it?
same.
I texted her and I asked her if she's mad at me, she knows I'm gonna, picked up this default, so I'll give her the number. She said, so I double checked if she was going. Yes, like, can I just go with you guys after?
Oh, yeah.
I thought we already went over that, she said, I was just double checking. And if someone responded like that, would she, I don't know.
I gotta wait.
Yeah, like, I guess.
Make a right.
Battle.
Yeah, we might.
Really question.
So I said, don't want
I'm
to
back in
home.
your.
I don't really know. She goes, oh my God, Brian, once said that we went over this and we were going home. I said, you need to relax, I'm double checking. You say, I guess it sounds like so left me on red.
I know
Didn't
what's going on
actually
there.
at the letter.
Our trucks coming in and out of
Next time she has no one cleaning out
the
with.
bank took all the kids' trucks.
So that they go back. And then, if I would've went, she would've been.
Somebody else in there. And the office building across the street.
don't go that way
very often, but Johnny's
There's
kind of
no
anxious.
She wants to be fast.
And like, basically the whole time.
Well, right, because it's, you know, I would think that there'd be a lot less.
Traffic, you're not sometimes it's easy to get a little anxious. Well, I just walk away.
That was the problem.
Yeah.
So they wanted
I don't know, but like,
wanted them to move us
so he has
entrance
I don't know.
down here, so they go straight out into the
I
Well, that's.
Well, I don't love driving.
Most people are doing that.
Well, a lot of people have that. I know bad much, but not basically.
I saw your guy's screenshot.
Oh, like Grande.
Oh, okay, that's our cash. Because I don't know, I was Sarah about it. You need 2,500 verified hours for children. And like, I made like it meet, but it's like, I only have 3 paid things, cause like, I just paid myself for a job, so it's like, I have to I know. But they edit it out, I like, that, I have to and then I have like, hit everything, that's paid. But she pays again, but like, I got out of that one. Yeah. I offered to be on and I don't do that much. On Tuesday, she was with me for like 45 or no, I guess on Tuesday, 45 minutes. On Tuesday, I can come out, I don't know, I go back to sleep for another hour and then my taker is 50 minutes. Do you know? Okay, because that's what she was doing. I was like, alright, I don't know, like, I think sometimes she went down a rabbit hole. Oh, yeah. So she just, what pops up on my side, that's really nice. So it's like, it's like, it's like, she went down like a rabbit hole and crazy with that. The only thing I'm not watching is she like the simulation. She'll watch those and then she'll get like scared. Like, stop watching this. I don't know. She's like the one you know dad and being like, I saw this oh yeah, I got off topic. But I was gonna say, I don't know if they accept volunteer hours. Because I gave her a list. I had you on it, I had Sarah on it, I had Jeff on it. And I had, my 4th grade teacher that I did an internship with for an entire year, which I have 900 hours. So actually, and then, yeah, I had an internship and then I had high school heroes, which was a club at the high school. I had 180 hours at the high school in a class that I had and teaching those. So, and then I have like I know, but the interviews I have to tell I want, but I mean, my cousin, otherwise it would have been long, it just depends. But, yeah, I'm gonna share like some figure it out before it's actually. I gotta know my husband's probably wondering. Hey, I should have told them that I did have a child, that I needed to come into childcare with me. We have thousands. Are we like, are you interviewing this year? Not. I think Christy has Morgantown. Christy has the Morgantown one. I don't know if another lady. I think her name was O. I don't know. I don't know. It's just that. Yeah, they're pulled out and it's like the people. Or I don't know what they are. So I don't need her chasing me out like she chased my dad.
Yo,
I'm like,
Then I got the new blueprints and everything.
But I don't need anything, I don't need them, I don't need them like, oh, like they take a picture and it like goes somewhere, or like, how I can be like,
I got to that point where I'm there, where I don't know where else all my free time. I cared in a situation, like I bring out and burnt out.
wow, well, that's on video. I know there's a couple different parcels that makes up that. I'm calling the police.
Yeah.
This got hard to me, like,
Yeah, I know.
I just wanted to, it was like, I didn't think how much more, like, no.
I just
At least these things are on the side of the road. And then,
Only because of.
I'm not leaving my truck out there.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just wanna get this.
So there you go. And I got it at 5 left. It's like 80 cents. Which like, and I'm at like slipping away and like I feel bad about it, but it's also like I don't she goes and I'm like, you won't tell me no. And you won't tell me no because you know I'm losing my mind. It's not job.
It's crazy how many, not the police, it was good, like both sides.
But I'm gonna say,
Like they
I
got
only work one day,
nobody got
every other week. And if they say no, I'm gonna say that I wanna go on higher, which was really just once every 6 months. Which at that point, I wouldn't even hire.
It's no reason.
So they say no stuff, so now it's just. When I have, yeah, that's what.
Not having
Yeah,
it.
like, would you rather have, just like that we are where we're kind of, it's like just barely above water.
Well, they're not from Jackson.
So I'm nosy, I would like, so many people that didn't have an exam desks.
Right.
It's just come out, so I
I know,
have.
entire areas.
They were at my house last week, one guy. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, we have like what, like, we had like 20 down to like. I mean, it's good that they do it with it, but it's gonna be.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna say no for it.
It's like 3 claims every day, Monday,
Cause I like to like the way I know, like it's not like they take it just a day.
No, and I got caught up last week, just like that.
When they show up,
It's just like, so hard, you know, like, I just never, like, I closed, I get, I closed all my like, oh yeah, I can't close out, it's just so much. It's to the point where I just don't.
But I get them out.
Well, that's exactly what this is. And they're like, oh, it's getting better, it's getting better. Well, that was 2 days on it.
You can even go like this, like right
I
back to the
heard that yesterday.
They cut the entire road.
I was like, you're not too bad. And those trees,
So like,
are you still down there? So if you're at a list, yeah,
back up 2 houses on your left, that would So, at the bottom of our front yard there is where the drainage is. So they cut the drain pipe and like they just.
Southeast.
So they have to go like,
Just put a steel plate across here and let me and like the graph has been having road work or like parking lot and the entire front, the entire road in front of it. They had 2 out of 3 of the entrances blocked. And the only way I didn't know how to get over there.
I don't know about it.
So I went and I was there, I'm freaking out, I moved Reddit 3 times a day. So I parallel parked. And then I finally, I got the first one, parallel parked beautifully. And then before the meeting, so I get feedback yesterday.
All right, let the record reflect that we are back in session at 9:22. Having no other business, no other motions before this board, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor, Mr. Rhodes?
Yep.
Mr. Gullo?
Yes.
Ms. Phipps?
Yes.
Mr. Steve?
Yeah.
This meeting is adjourned. I'll vote yes. Thank you for coming out and staying, folks. We always appreciate it.
Do we have stuff that we need to sign?
No, we got everything.
Is there stuff we need to sign? Is there stuff we need to sign today?
There is.
Okay.
Thank you.